Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got massive harem with Shinju, Unohana and Matsumoto. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time let's get into the video. It's almost over. Naruto said as he glared into the singly eye of the Juubi. Naruto was facing off against the Juubi who used to be Madara Uchiha, prior to him exploding of course. Somehow Madara was able to seal the Juubi into himself at the last moment, but he underestimated the first Bijuu, as after 30 seconds of having to seal the Juubi in himself, he immediately went kaboom with Juubi re-emerging and no standing before our blonde Uzumaki hero. Here is Naruto Uzumaki in his 9-tailed fox cloak, glaring into the single eye of the gigantic 10-tailed Bijuu, before casting all his bravery for one last fight to save the world. Thanks to Itachi, the army of the dead returned to rest, but not without a cost. Before the original Madara Uchiha died, Mei Terumi the Gondai Mizukage died along with Anko Madarashi, trying the very hardest to fight alongside their one true love Naruto, even with Anko having to lose almost all her strength from Kabuto, extracting the curse seal's power from her. Naruto activated his new Rinnegan, which was granted by Nagato during the time he first fought him. "I may not be able to kill you like this. But if I die, you do too," Naruto yelled as he charged at the Juubi. Thus the end of the Fourth Great Shinobi War ended. An hour passed. An hour passed before the four Kages and others surrounded Naruto, who was on the floor gazing at the moon. He had a smile on his face before closing his eyes to see a young girl with dark blue hair smiling at him. "Soon, Soi-chan. Soon," Naruto thought as he gave his last dying breath. The Kage around him bowed their heads, while Tsunade cried, as did Hinata and others. Naruto opened his eyes to see he was standing over his dead body. Looking at his chest, he saw there was a link of chains. "What are these things? How do I get it off?" Naruto asked as he started pulling on it, but it only caused him pain. "Ah!" Naruto screamed. "Not doing that again," Naruto thought. He looked around and saw the people surrounding his body. "About time," a voice said. Naruto raised a brow as he heard another voice. "I thought he would never die." That was a woman's voice. "Huh?" Naruto asked. "You bastard. It's your fault, Sasuke-kun." Naruto looked confused. That was Sakura's voice. "What is going on?" Naruto asked. "You can hear their thoughts, Naruto-kun," a female voice purred. "Hey. Who's there?" Naruto asked. "He was a good tool for Konoha. Winning the war. Now he is useless," a male voice said. Naruto tried looking for the person but couldn't. Who would have thought such a loser would win this war? Whatever. Once a loser, always a loser. That was Niji's voice. "What is going on? Why can I hear their thoughts?" Naruto asked. "Because I can hear their thoughts, which allowed you to hear their thoughts as well. Remember, Naruto-kun, I see and I have saw everything. I know all on this earth," the same female voice said. "What are you talking about? Who are you?" Naruto demanded. "Still haven't figured it out yet. It's me, Naruto-kun's Shinju the Juubi," she said. "Juubi? You're a female?" Naruto asked. "Yes. You thought I was a male?" Juubi asked. "Well yeah, I mean all your other Bijuu besides Nibi were male, so I thought." "It doesn't matter what you thought," Juubi screamed. "Don't ever," and Naruto means ever, steal his catchphrases. "Got it, Databeo," Naruto said, still hearing their voices. "I'm sorry Naruto-kun, it was just to fu and giggle. Anyway, let's get back on track. How does it feel?" Juubi asked. "How does what feel?" Naruto asked. "How does it feel to have the very people you gave your all and your life for saying such mean things? Loser, failure, deadweight, useless," Juubi asked. "It hurts. It makes my chest ache," Naruto said sadly. "I know it does, Naruto-kun. I'm sorry, but that's what or rather how they feel. All humans are like that. They are such weak-minded humans, only seeing black and white. It's been like this since the beginning of time," Juubi said. "Wait. Kurama. Where's Kurama and the others?" Naruto asked. "Kurama is sleeping now. Just like all the other Bijuu," Juubi said. "Oh okay. Why are you talking to me, though? I sealed you away. Shouldn't you hate me or something?" Naruto asked nervously, knowing what he said could happen now, and in his mind, nothing was stopping the Juubi from eating him whole now, since he could exactly use chakra to defend himself being dead. "Ahahaha." Juubi laughed. Naruto didn't know why, but he liked hearing her laugh. "Hate you? Oh, I don't hate you, Naruto-kun. If Anything inwardly smiles, I love you. I've seen your whole life except for one thing," Juubi said. "What is it?" Naruto asked in surprise. "The only thing I haven't seen was a part in your life. You were 6 years old, I believe. All I remember is someone with a strange aura coming. When they opened a gate they left, leaving it open, where you jumped in running away from the villagers," Juubi informed. "I met my first friend Soifon. I don't know how long it's been, but I bet she's grown up by now. Naruto smiled. Why won't the Hokage burn his body? Naruto heard. He gazed at them all with sad eyes. Am I not missed at all? Do I mean nothing? Naruto asked, not noticing the links on his chains being eaten away. Tell me, Naruto-kun, why did you try so hard? From the start, I mean, Juubi asked. I tried hard to get their attention. To be acknowledged. Naruto said. Naruto-kun. Do you want to be in pain? To always be hated? To be known as weak? Juubi asked. No. I want to prove to them I am strong. That I can handle anything. Naruto said. Then rip the chains off. I know it will hurt, but it will be the first step to real power this TIMEARIGATO. Oh, thank you, Kagaya-sama, Juubi said, with the last part being something she thought on her own. Naruto was silent. Wee, are you helping me? Naruto asked. BECAUSE smiles warmly, because I care for you, Naruto-kun. I love you and only you. You are my first love. Juubi said. Naruto was silent again, but was surprised at hearing the Juubi's confession inwardly. You will stay with me? Naruto asked. Always by your side. Juubi said. And you say you know everything about me, right? Naruto asked. Yup. Juubi said happily. Okay, then am I a virgin? Naruto asked. Nope. You lost your virginity to the Gon Daime Mizukage, someone who you deeply cared about you in your world. Then you funked your mother, Kushina, senseless when you met her inside your mindscape. I'm pretty sure her real self is still a hot blushing mess right now. Haha. Juubi replied. I guess you do know everything. Okay, Juubi-chan. Tell me everything about you. It seems only fair. Naruto smiled. Kurohime. She said. Huh? Naruto asked, confused. My real name is Kurohime. Juubi said. Well then, it's nice to meet you, Kuro-chan. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Future destroyer of the elemental nations. Naruto grinned. Kurohime giggled at him and begun telling Naruto all about herself. Time skip, Soul Society. What's that? Sasuke-san asked calmly. I told you. I won't leave Rukia. Renji Aburai said. The two, along with Jin Ichimaru and Kaname Tosen, stood at the executioner hill. In Renji's arm bridal style was Rukia Kichiki. I refuse to let her go. Renji said, glaring at Aizen. Very well then. Aizen said with a calm smile. Jin put a hand on his Zanpakuto but was stopped by Aizen. That won't be necessary, Jin. Aizen said as he walked forward. You're very stubborn, Renji, to stand down when I ordered you. I have no choice. But I'll take your feelings into consideration. And I will let you have your way. Aizen said, still walking towards them, and drew his sword. She can stay in your arms, the rest of you goes. Aizen said as he swung his sword. Blood spilled on the floor as Rukia looked at Renji worriedly. Renji. She called. My. Aizen said. Renji held Rukia in one arm while the other was bleeding and holding his sword. I can see your defense capabilities have grown, Renji Aburai. I am happy to see you have continued to progress. But I hope you won't struggle for too long. It's difficult for me to control my power. It's difficult to step on ants without crushing them. And as your former superior, I would prefer not to kill you if I don't have to. Aizen said, still in that calm voice, while Renji panted. Renji? Rukia said worryingly. It's okay, Rukia. Just shut up, you're right. You don't want to kill me? Then what about Momo? You killed her in cold blood. Renji glared. What happened to Momo couldn't be helped. I had trained her so she couldn't live without me. So you don't think killing her was an act of mercy? Aizen asked, shocking Renji. Still, what I said is true. I didn't want to kill her myself. That's why I went to all the trouble for Izuru and Toshiro. But that didn't work out. So I had no choice. I had to finish her myself. Aizen explained. Renji gritted his teeth. So Momo and Izuru were all just puppets in your twisted scheme. Renji shouted. And you too, Renji. Aizen said as he stared at Renji's glaring eyes. I see. I don't know who the monster in front of me really is, but you're not the Aizen I knew. And I don't know why you want her so badly. But I'll never hand Rukia over to you. Even if it costs me my life. Renji said, holding Rukia closer. HN. The Aizen you knew was a mask. It was all part of the plan. Aizen said. Renji growled and jumped into the air. Roar. Zabumaru. Renji howled as his sword changed to a Shikai and shot at Aizen. Shikai, huh? Aizen smirked as he held his sword up and blocked the attack. You're probably at your limit. But that won't help you. Aizen said as he deflected it away. That's what you think. Renji said, swinging it back at Aizen. Foolish. Aizen said, stopping it with his palm. Out of the three of you, I always thought you would be the most troublesome. And I was right. Aizen said, breaking the sword into pieces. Renji gasped before blood spewed from his back. Renji. Rukia called as he fell forward in front of Aizen. I'll give you one more chance. Put Rukia down and get out of here. Aizen glared. He'll do it, Aizen Taichu. I'll go with you if you want, just leave him alone. Rukia begged. Shut up, Rukia. I refuse. Renji whispered. Renji, no. Rukia said. I won't let him have you, Rukia. You thought I'd give her up? Are you that dumb? Renji asked. Then so be it. Aizen shrugged. Too bad. Aizen set about to bring his blade down when it was blocked by two blades. A black blade and a silver one. Namikaze Fukatechu. Ichigo. Renji said. Aizen glanced at the two males beside him. On his left was Ichigo Kurosaki, still in Bankai. On his right was vice captain of the 2nd Division, Minato Namikaze, better known as the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha. What's the matter, Renji? The way you're crouching down makes me think you're about to give up, Rukia. Ichigo smirked. Minato. I would expect the yellow flash to be faster. Aizen said, ignoring Ichigo. What is the meaning of this, Aizen? Minato glared. HN. Aizen grunted as Minato pushed away Aizen's blade, allowing Ichigo and Renji to leap back, as well as himself. Ichigo. Renji called. Yeah. The teen asked. I'm sorry you had to come. Renji said. What happened to you? Ichigo asked. Huh? Renji asked as Ichigo looked back at him comically. All you had to do was carry Rukia away and look at you. Either she gained a lot of weight or you're weak and all beat up. Ichigo said, making Renji's eye twitch. Yeah? Well, looks who's talking. Instead of coming here, you should have gone back to bed. Renji shot back. You got a lot of nerve talking like that to the guy who saved your ass. Ichigo retorted. I was gonna thank you, you idiot, but I'm not going to now. Renji said. Both stopped arguing as Rukia pulled her head back from Renji's chest and glared at him while trying to regain her breath. You idiot. Rukia said, giving him an uppercut. You think I'm trying to hold a new world record for holding my breath? She ranted. Hey. Focus. Minato barked, making them look at him, then at Aizen. Well, someone isn't in a good mood. Jin smirked. Shut it, Jin. I expected you to help Aizen, but you can him. Minato glanced. It's for justice. Can him said. Minato shook his head. Renji. Minato called. Yes. Renji asked. You think you have enough energy to get away? Minato asked. I have enough to stay and fight. Renji answered. No. You need to get Rukia out of here. Ryoka. Go with him. Minato ordered. Sorry, no can do. It's useless for us to run. Even if you are the yellow flash. Renji said. That's an order, Renji. Minato yelled. Zabumaru might be broken, but he still has a few surprises left. We just need to slow him down to get away. Renji said. Minato growled in annoyance. Who needs a plan B? If we all join forces in battle, I'm sure we can take this guy. Ichigo smirked. Oh my, such arrogance. Jin chuckled. Renji stepped to the side, making space between the two. I can only use this technique once. But if it connects, you got him wide open for a second or two. You and Namikaze have to strike him at that opening. Renji said. Right. Ichigo nodded. This is gonna hurt a bit, Zabumaru, but you have to hang in there. Renji thought. Go. Zabumaru. Renji said, slamming his blade on the ground. Ikazakal, Renji yelled as red energy buzzed around him. The broken pieces of Zabumaru floated above Aizen, making Jin take a step forward. Minato looked with a bit of awe as the pieces shot themselves at Aizen. Minato and Ichigo took this chance and charged at Aizen. Gra. Ichigo roared as he swung at Aizen the same time Minato did, but both were shocked when Aizen blocked them. With Ichigo, one finger. With Minato, his Zanpakuto. Aizen just smirked and tapped Zanjetsu. When that happened, blood erupted from both Ichigo and Minato. Aizen hummed before blurring out of sight and behind Renji. At that moment, blood erupted from Renji's shoulder. Minato, Ichigo and Renji fell as Aizen walked towards Rukia, who couldn't move at all. Stand up, Rukia Kichiki. Aizen said. Rukia just stared with wide eyes filled with fear. Grabbing her collar, he lifted her up. Oh, it seems my spiritual pressure made your body go limp. Aizen said before turning to Ichigo, who was glaring and panting. Your stamina is amazing, but your spine is not connected to your body. Aizen said, sheathing his sword. You should lie still. At any rate, you have each served your purpose. Your job and all this is done now. Aizen said. Our job is done? Ichigo asked, glaring harder. That's correct. I knew you were coming. I even knew where you were. I knew you would arrive at the West Rukan district. That's why I had security increased there. The squad members stationed at the gate. I had Jin go there as well, in case something went wrong. I lowered the wall around Sarataride after your arrival and had squads 3 and 9 at the gate. I knew the only way you'd be able to get in would be Kukaku Shiba's firework cannon. A very flashy entrance that everyone would notice, a bold approach. Aizen explained. It helped that you were able to get past the captains. As a result, the eyes of all the Soul Reapers were on you. The perfect diversion. Your actions and the turmoil you caused were actually quite impressive. As a result, there wasn't much fuss at all over me when I faked my death. You made it easy for me to make my move. Aizen said, shocking Ichigo. But. Hold on. How did you know we were gonna come through the West Rukan district in the first place? Ichigo demanded. That does not matter. Minato panted, trying to stand up. He is right. What matters is that you have what I want. And you know what I want. The Haigaku. Aizen said, turning to Rukia. What is that? Ichigo demanded. I'm tired of talking. You're gonna die anyways. Aizen smirked before something or someone crashed down behind him. Aizen. The fox thing bellowed. Aizen spun around and blocked the sword by grabbing it. Aizen smiled at the fox-looking captain. How dare you? How dare you smile while you betrayed us? Every one of us. You will not be forgiven. Nor will you. Kanam. Kamamura growled. Aizen jumped back with Rukia when Kamamura slammed his fist at him, pounding the ground. Kanam. If you got an explanation, I need to hear it now. Kamamura said. Anam Tosin said nothing. Nothing. Too bad, Kanam. Kamamura said, raising his spiritual pressure. Aizen smirked and was right in front of Kamamura. What? That's impossible. He should be with Kanam. The fox man thought only to see that Aizen fade away. Heido number 90. Kurohitsugi. Aizen said. Black poles appeared at Kamamura's corners and formed a black square, trapping him inside. The box pulsed before dispersing. Aizen turned around as blood spewed from Kamamura's body. The fox fell down, unconscious. No way. Minato said in awe. This battle between two captains. I can't believe I can be so helpless. Ichigo thought. So that's unspoken, Heido 90. Pretty badass. I take it you mastered that little tact when I wasn't looking. Jin said. No, it was a failure. What you saw was only a third of its destructive power. Number 90 is difficult to control. Aizen said, grabbing Rukia from Jin. Oh, I'm sorry I haven't killed you yet, have I? Aizen said, looking at Ichigo, then Minato. Ichigo. Who are you? Called as he and the others ran to the site. No, go away. Ichigo yelled. They all stopped in confusion. Rukia. Orihime called. Oh no. You shouldn't be moving. Jin said, raising his pressure. They all fell one by one due to the pressure. Now Rukia Kichiki, let's get started, nah. Aizen smiled, taking out some sort of object and clicked it. Once he did, mist started seeping out and whirled around his hand. Aizen, stop. Minato yelled. Aizen ignored him as 6 green spikes shot from the ground. Aizen's hand turned green and scaly before he plunged his hand into Rukia's chest. Rukia. Ichigo screamed. Aizen found what he was looking for and took it out, letting Rukia fall. How fascinating. I didn't expect it to be so small. Aizen said as he observed the small inkest orb. The hole in Rukia's chest closed. And no permanent harm to the soul. What an astounding technique. Aizen muttered. It's too bad, I don't have any use for you. Kill her, Jin. Aizen ordered. Well, if I must. Shoot to kill, Shinzo. Jin said as the blade grew and shot at Rukia, only to stab Byakuya. Nai-sama. Rukia whispered as she was in his arms. The blade retracted from his chest, allowing blood to spill out. Byakuya. Rukia called as he fell, only to be held up by Rukia. Aizen began to walk up to them when he looked up to see the giant Jidanbo. Let's go, Jidanbo. Kukaku grinned. Alright. Jidanbo grinned. Heido, 63. Kukaku yelled as lightning burst from her hand, shooting at Aizen. Aizen got away but was met by Soifan and Yoruchi. Yoruchi held his blade sheathed and Soifan had her blade against his neck. Don't do it. You move as so much as a muscle, Yoruchi said. Then we're gonna cut off your head. Soifan finished. Yes, I can see that. Aizen said. Well, that was flashy. What should I do? Jin asked, raising his hand, but his wrist was grabbed by Aizen. You shouldn't even move. She said. Sorry, Aizen Taicho, I got caught. Jin smirked more, if that was possible. This is the end. Yoruchi said. Did you say something? Aizen asked. Can't you see? There is nowhere to go. Nowhere to escape to. Yoruchi said as the other captains and vice captains appeared, all except Toshiro, Matsumoto and Unohana. Minato. A voice called. Said man turned to see his wife Kushina and his student Kakashi running towards him. Sorry it took us so long. Mei smiled. We kinda got caught up. Tsunade said with Sakura by her side. So this the traitor, huh? Sasuke smirked, standing with Orochimaru, who had a smirk also. Aizen looked around and smirked. Well. Quite a predicament you're in, Sasuke-chan. A voice said, making Aizen freeze. His smirk was now gone. Everyone looked around to see where that voice came from. Then they found the owner. Yoruchi and Soifan jumped back as the person was back to back with Aizen. This seems like a fun game. Can I play? The person asked. What are you doing here? Why are you not at base? Uzumaki? Aizen asked. Everyone from the elemental nations froze at hearing the surname. They narrowed their eyes and they widened at who they saw. What? I simply can't take a breath of fresh air now. Even if I am not alive, a man is to breath, you know, Uzumaki asked. Aizen stepped back and turned to the 16-year-old boy. In front of him was a tall 16-year-old boy who was a little taller than Sasuke. He had spiky shoulder-length blonde hair. He wore a high-collared jacket with black trips. The jacket was zipped down a bit, showing his fishnet shirt underneath. The sleeves were rolled up to his elbows. He wore a white Sashinuki hakama that were gathered at the ankles, giving them a ballooning effect. He had a black sash with extra length. Tucked at his side was a sheathed katana that has a white handle and a two-cross triangle, SHAP, the Judaism symbol, for a guard. On his feet he wore flat-pointed ankle-high boots. On his right ring finger was a silver wedding band with the kanji 6. On his left middle finger was a crimson ring with the kanji 0. On his left pinky was a black ring with the kanji star in crimson. This was Naruto Uzumaki. A ranker and a spot number 0. Uzumaki. Aizen growled and glared. Naruto ignored him and ran a hand through his hair, revealing a bone-like headband on his forehead. Funny thing is, it is bone. Naruto then turned his attention back at Aizen and glared his spiritual pressure off the charts, making all of Soul Society fall to its knees. Aizen was no exception. We had a deal, Aizen. Naruto said coldly, any humor in his voice gone. What? Aizen asked. Naruto snapped his fingers. In a blur, Kanem and Jin had their blood spewing out their chest, killing them. Aizen froze as Jin's blood got on her. Jin. Kanem. Aizen yelled. The blurs appeared by Naruto's side, revealing to be 3 women and a short boy. One had long mint green hair with hazel eyes. She had a crimson line that runs across her face. She had light tanned skin and a gorgeous curvy figure. She had a curved horn skull on her head. Her chest was the most noticeable thing about her. Her bust was at least a DT cup. She wore an outfit similar to Naruto's, but didn't have a high collar, only a short one. Her outfit was tied around her, but seemed she was able to move freely, having long sleeves. She wore white anbu-like pants with a black sash tied around her waist and her unsheathed sword tucked by her side. She, like Naruto, sported a silver wedding band on her right ring finger and a green ring on her left ring finger with the kanji 3. The second woman had dark skin, beautiful jade green eyes which seemed more vibrant than Sakura's. Blonde eyelashes and messy blonde hair that came down in 3 braided locks. She wore a variation of the Aranker jacket. It had a high collar that covered the lower part of her face downward, while bearing a good portion of the lower half of her DT cup breasts. The jacket had a zipper running along its entire length that is open from the bottom upwards. The jacket sleeves completely enveloped her arms, only leaving her hands, which had 2 rings. One on each ring finger. On her right a silver wedding band, and on the left a light blue ring with the kanji 3 and S. Her sword is strapped horizontally across her back. It is notably broad and short while being completely hollow in the middle and has a Western-style guard. She wore a black sash with white hakama pants. The third woman had blue eyes and long beautiful black hair that was on her back reaching down to her kneecaps, tied in a chain like bride. She wore a small black neck collar on her neck and also had a pair of cream white fingerless gloves. The white dress she wore only covered her DT cup breasts and showed the hole in her chest. The dress also revealed the white and black trimline G-string she was wearing, along with her magnificent hips and her big but round ass that made those that saw it launch into the sky because of the massive nosebleed they had in my profile picture, but without the black cloth and the horn on her head. For shoes she wore nothing, showing her clean feet as the dress was ankle length. The boy that was standing next to the dark-skinned women stood at the minimum height of 4'4" and had white spiky hair and turquoise eyes. He had a kanji for seal tattooed on the right side of his neck and another kanji which was a name on the left side of his neck. The boy wore white hakama pants that was held by a light blue sash at his waist and a fishnet shirt that showed his six-pack. He wore a sleeveless black haori with the kanji for Sub-Zero on his back, along with a katana on his back that was held in place by a green sash and a round star-like clip. He wore a pair of black fingerless gloves and a pair of boots similar to Naruto's. Everyone looked at the third woman and boy with wide eyes that spelled out shock and disbelief, along with Aizen, who looked confused but still angered at the other 2 women appearing. Jushiro and Kairaku looked at Unohana as they muttered. Whoa. Aizen looked at the third woman, who gave her a motherly smile, making the Fukatecho shiver and slightly gasp. Unohana Taicho. Sorry for coming unexpectedly, To-sama. Me and Retsu-san just couldn't resist making our last appearance on this dump of an afterlife, said the white-haired boy with an ice-cold voice as he glared at the Satacho, who glared back at the boy with closed eyes. The old man opened his eyes as he looks at the blue-eyed women, who looked back with a blank look. The old man said, Retsu Unohana Toshiro Hitsugaya. What is the meaning of this? Nell, horrible. Aizen glared. They don't serve you anymore, Aizen. And the reason I'm doing this because you broke our deal. Naruto said in that same cold tone. What? He asked. I specifically told you to keep Narita on a leash and we will have no problems. Give me what I want and I'll work with you. But no, Narita attacked Nel-chan, breaking your part of the deal. I told you specifically, if any of your lapdogs go after my mates or my son or servants, I will kill them and you. So the mantis is dead. Naruto shrugged before snatching Aizen by his neck, holding up. Before I kill you, I will be taking what's mine. Naruto said as he thrust his other hand in the center of Aizen's chest, shocking everyone. Naruto stuck his tongue out while he searched. Ah. There it is. Naruto grinned as he grasped it and pulled his hand away with something in it. Flicking the blood off, he handed it to Toshiro. Hold that for me, Sachi. Naruto smiled. Of course, Sama. Hitsugaya nodded with a hidden smile. Naruto grinned, then glared at Aizen. Oh, what is this? Naruto asked as he took out the Hijoku. This thing is far smaller than mine's. What a waste, Sasuke-chan, said Naruto. Naruto pocketed it and dropped him. No matter. Nel-chan, would you like to do the honors? Naruto asked. Of course, Naruto-kun. Nel smiled while unsheathing her sword and beheading Aizen. Naruto smirked as the blood shot out of his neck. So weak. Naruto muttered. Narukoi, I think we have company. Retsu warned Naruto as he glanced around. Ei-chan. Naruto grunted. Naruto-kun? Mei asked teary-eyed. Naruto glanced at her and grinned. Oh, Mei-chan. Naruto said as she jumped and hugged him. I missed you so much. Mei cried. Well, it wasn't as easy finding you either, Mei-heim. Naruto chuckled as Mei stepped back. An orange blur came flying at Naruto, shouting Naruto-koi. And tackled the man, but he didn't fall. When the blur was finally seen, everyone jaw-dropped at what they seen, with Aizen muttering. How can this be? Ranjiku Dono Unohana Tacho Hitsugaya Taicho, what's going on? The blur revealed to be Ranjiku Matsumoto, who was dressed in the same attire as Tia, but without the high collar, and her zanpudo was held by the black sash around her waist at her back, and she had a ring on her right hand's middle finger. She jumped off Naruto not before giving him a kiss, which she got a glare from Nel, Retsu and Tia, and an eyebrow twitch from Toshiro. She walked over to Toshiro and gave the poor short boy a massive motherly hug, with his head being between her massive breasts. Oh my Sachi-kun. Mommy has missed you so much. Toshiro used as much strength as he can to pull out of the breathtaking hug and shouted to Ranjiku, for crying out, it's only been 2 hours, Ka-san. Naruto glanced at the two with a look that said settle down, or I'm taking away your watermelons and sake, which the two responded by standing behind Naruto with serious gazes towards the Shinigami of Soul Society. Who are you? Yamamoto demanded. Naruto raised a brow. Me? I am the jabroni beaten, pie eaten, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, fast in a fight, quick on a word, came to finish this god-forsaken world, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto grinned while doing a dance similar to Jiraiya's. There he goes again. Toshiro and Nel sighed. Sometimes it gets old. Tia muttered. Naruto heard them and sweat dropped. Why are you here? It doesn't matter why I'm here. Naruto yelled, cutting him off. Yup. That's Naruto-kun. Mei thought. So this is Soul Society. Hasn't changed. Naruto muttered, but everyone heard him. Wait, you've been here before? Shunsui asked. When I was little. Naruto answered. Naruto turned around. Alright. It's time to leave. Naruto said, but before he could take another step he was surrounded. You think you can just come here and leave? You are a danger to the Soul Society along with these rogue Shinigami. Yamamoto stated as Toshiro raised his Ryatsu, making the ground he was standing on to become thin ice. He was stopped when Naruto grabbed his shoulder and shook his head to the white-haired boy. Naruto looked back to Yamamoto and said, you know, I was really going to leave you in peace, but now you're pissing me off. Naruto, son. Minato called. Naruto looked at him wondering what he wanted. Why don't you just stay here? So you, your mother and I can be a family, like we were supposed to. Minato said. No. I have my own family as you can see, and a harem full of girls with some bitches grins. What can this place offer me that I already have? Naruto asked. Your friends. Kakashi said. Friends, Naruto yelled. Nel, Retsu, Matsumoto and Tia stepped a little closer to him to calm him. Ha 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 ha. Friends. Like Sakura and Yu-chan. Friends like those Kakabaka? Naruto asked. Naruto then looked at Yamamoto. You don't pay attention to the world of the living, do you, old man? Naruto asked. What do you mean? Yamamoto asked. I mean Yu-chan and Itachi-chan are the biggest traitors in our homeworld. I'm surprised not to see Kabuto-chan here, but I guess Itachi-chan still has him in that game jutsu. Naruto chuckled. Naruto, things don't have to be this way. Stay with us. Sakura said. And be the dead last again. Sorry Pinky, I ain't fallin' for it. Plus what makes you think you can hold me down? Naruto asked, raising a brow. How about we got numbers? Kenpachi smirked. Numbers don't mean shit to me in this case. It's quality not quantity. Anyway, I feel crowded. Naruto said as he raised his palm. Shinra Tensei. Naruto said as everyone was blown away. How is that possible? You're dead. You can't use chakra. Sasuke said. Don't underestimate the unpredictable number 1 knucklehead, ticking time bomb, jabroni beating, Naruto Uzumaki Databeo. Naruto smirked. Naruto-sama. Shiro-chan. A female voice called making Toshiro eye twitch at the name he was called by. Naruto turned his head to see Momo running towards him. Momo-chan. Naruto grinned as Momo hugged him, which made May gain a tick mark at another woman getting all up on her man again. I'm happy to see you, Naruto-sama. Momo grinned. Momo. You're alive. Minato asked. Momo, what are you doing? He's an enemy. Aizen said. Naruto-sama isn't an enemy. Aizen Baka team was the enemy. Momo stated. Aren't you all wondering how I got here? Momo-chan, of course. Naruto grinned, kissing her forehead, making her blush and sputter out words for a second, but sighed blissfully and giggle, and Matsumoto smirked, which got her a pout from Momo. You see, before Aizen Baka could kill Momo-chan, I switched her with a hinged blood clone, so everyone thought, including Aizen, that she was dead when secretly she was trying to figure out a way for me to return, since her seal was used up. Naruto said. Momo Hinamori, Toshiro Hitsugaya, Ranjiku Matsumoto, Retsu Unohana. You are a traitors to the shut your trap and know your place. Why? Because Momo said so. Momo yelled, cutting off Yamamoto. Naruto gaped at her like a fish as Hitsugaya kept holding back his laughter. Never ever in Naruto means ever. Steal his catchphrases. Naruto said. Hi Naruto-sama. Momo muttered while all the women that stood with him giggled. Now where is Anko-chan? Naruto asked. Oh, she said she had to take care of a few things. Momo said. Naruto nodded before someone stepped up. Naruto glanced at her and she had his full attention. Yes, Soi-chan? Naruto asked. Why are you doing this? Are you against the Soul Society? Soifin asked, her hair covering her eyes. Naruto was surprisingly serious now. At first, no. I was just trying to live. Make a name for myself and all that biz. But now, after seeing how this place treats the true traitors and the poor like my son and Rangi-chan along with Retsuheim, I have decided to carry out Aizen's dream. To become God. Although I already am one, I'm not that kind of God who rules everything in a bad way. I want to change everything. Have true peace. The peace Nagato-senpai wanted. And if that means I have to play the villain in the hero's eyes, then I will. But nothing will stop me from accomplishing my goal, nothing, Naruto explained. Soifin nodded and walked over to him. Nell and Tia tensed while Mei, Toshiro, Ristu and Momo were curious. Naruto did nothing. He just watched her. He was looking down at her as she was right next to him, while Momo was standing by Nell as Matsumoto is standing by Retsu and poking the women's sweet and big ass, earning a sweet smile that promised death if she didn't stop. Matsumoto shivers and backs away from the scary wife of Naruto, muttering to herself to never do it again. The Shinigami watched with bated breaths, wondering what Soifin would do, since it seemed she had some sort of connection with Naruto. Said woman looked up at Naruto with watery eyes and a smile. I thought I lost you. That you were never gonna come back. Soifin said. Naruto smiled at her. And leave my little bumblebee alone. Never. Naruto said. Soifin grinned and kissed his lips, shocking the Shinigami and getting a pout from Momo and Mei, while Retsu smiled at the reunion as she clapped her hands once. Ishiro, who was standing behind Retsu, thought, I wish her, but would do that. Soifin, what are you doing? Yoruichi demanded. Soifin pulled away and grabbed Naruto's hand while facing them. I'm going with Naruto-kun. I want to help him achieve his goal. Soifin said. As do we. A voice said as Naruto was surrounded by 3 blurs. I thought you would never show up, Whisker-chan, Whitey-chan. Anko smirked, earning a H-N from Toshiro, who had gotten used to her name calling. Yeah right. Dango-chan. Naruto fired back, making her gain a tick mark. So this was the shithead you were talking about? Tayuya asked. Naruto's eye twitched. Hey, I remember you. You're that Sound 3 girl or something. Naruto pointed. Tayuya blinked before she pointed back also. And you're that blonde shithead who wore that orange kill me jumpsuit. Tayuya growled. Funk you, horn girl. Naruto yelled. Funk you, shithead. Tayuya yelled back. You. They both yelled before making out, making everyone sweat drop save for Toshiro, who shook his head muttering, I'm probably gonna get a sister soon again. Whisker-chan sure works fast. Anko muttered while the other girls nodded in agreement. Naruto pulled away as Tayuya had a dazed look. So I take it you're coming along then? He asked. She nodded dumbly while saying. If it means I don't have to be with goody-goody dead two shoes, yeah. Naruto grinned and kissed her forehead. Welcome aboard. Naruto grinned, but someone cleared their throat, making Naruto look to the last person of the three, and his eyes widened. Maiko-chan. Naruto stuttered. Naruto-kun. Mikoto smiled. Mother? Sasuke asked. Mikoto ignored Sasuke and gently kissed Naruto's lips. It's been too long. Naruto-kun. You sure have grown. Mikoto smiled. Before Naruto could reply, Kenpachi erupted. Enough of this. He said, drawing his sword and charging at the group. Naruto smiled at Mikoto as Retsu stepped forward, then glared at Kenpachi. What a pest. And here I thought you would be a promising challenge someday, but Retsu said, holding out his hand, and Kenpachi stopped in midair just 1 inch from her palm, shocking all the Shinigami, even getting wide eyes from the Satacho himself. She closed her hand into a fist, then slightly knocked Kenpachi on the forehead. He was propelled back along with the ground by an unknown force as he screamed in pain. Ken-chan. Yuichiro yelled. Stop him and the traitors at once. Yamamoto yelled. Ooh, you don't want it to do that. Naruto said before they could even move. You see, I can kill all of you in one sweep, but I've decided not to. But that doesn't mean I won't. You're pushing your luck, old man. I'm sure the people out there still want to exist because after this, you will die. Permanently. Naruto glared. Naruto, don't do this. Tsunade begged. You want to know what turned me into a hollow? It wasn't because of my first wife. No, it was because of loneliness, hate, and some other crap. But I have a question. How the hell is Orochimaru here if Itachi sealed him? Naruto asked. Only we have the ability to seal souls. Shunsui answered. Naruto nodded. That must be why Nagato-senpai is alive. Naruto thought. Okay, anyway, back on point. It was my so-called friends that pushed me into a hollow. Naruto said. What? We didn't do anything. Sakura said. Haha, my dear Sakura-chan. You know the saying, if you have nothing to say, keep it to yourself. Or keep your thoughts to yourself? Naruto asked as they all nodded. Well, you should have thought happy thoughts. Not, it's all your fault. It's your fault Sasuke-kun is dead. While staring at your friend's dead body. The dead hear things. Naruto said. But not all of us thought this. Tsunade said. You are right. Not all of you thought such things. Such as you, Tsunade-chan. Uncle Billy, Guy. And a couple more. Even the Kages. By the way, Gaara and Konan are with me. Anyway, but the rest of Konoha. The people I helped bring back to life. The people I put my life on the line for. Over and over again. The person who defeated both Pain and Madara before he ate some hot chili up in this bitch and exploded from massive diarrhea. Not to mention the second Orochimaru, Yu-chan. Those people, with the so-called will of fire, don't think so highly of me. Naruto explained. It hurts to give your life for the people you protected with everything you had, just spit on your grave. It seems daddy didn't have that problem. As they ruled the father but damned the son. The same son who ended the fourth great shinobi war. Naruto chuckled. Everyone from the elemental nations was silent. Anyway, it's been fun. I guess. It's time for us to go home. But don't think you have heard the last of the jabroni beating, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto grinned as they all started to float thanks to a light beam shining on them. Wait, Naruto-kun. Kushina called, running towards him. Kushina, no. Minato said as he tried running after her but was still hurt from his wound that Aizen gave him. Yes? Naruto asked. Take me with you. Kushina said. Naruto pondered it before shrugging. Okay. Naruto grinned as a second beam hit Kushina, making her float. Kushina, why are you doing this? Minato asked. I wasn't there for him. At all. And that was because of Obito. But when I met him, I had the chance to bond with my Naruto-kun. I will be damned if I miss this chance. Even if it makes me your enemy. I will be with Naruto-kun. Kushina stated. So long, Soul Soicity. Naruto Uzumaki will return. Naruto yelled as he and company disappeared. Yamamoto grunted in annoyance. Next time, Naruto Uzumaki. When you do return. You will face justice. The man thought. Yurichi gritted her teeth in anger. Was he more important than me? Did she leave with him because he offered her a chance to come while I didn't? Why Soifin? The Catwoman thought in rage. Unohana Teichoi? Aizen thought as she hugged herself and fell on her knees. Jushiro and Kairaku got to Aizen and comfort the silver-haired Shinigami as she released loud sobs. Naruto. That bastard took Kasan. Tusan won't like this. Not at all. Sasuke thought. Naruto, I'm so sorry. I promise I will get you back so we can be a team again. That's my promise of a lifetime. Sakura thought. Should I have gone? I found him. And now he's gone again. Tsunade thought. Damn. What did I do wrong? Why Kushina? Why did you leave with our corrupted son? Naruto doesn't want peace. He wants revenge. Minato thought with anger as the medics took him and the other injured away. So that doctor of a woman is strong, huh? I will enjoy facing you someday. Unohana. Kenpachi thought with a sick grin. That look. Why did he look at me before leaving? What could he want with me? Orihime thought in confusion. And why does he look like Namiyuzu-kun? I mean they both have the same name. Could they be the same? She thought. It seemed Chad knew what she was thinking as he thought the same. I don't think that was him, Orihime. The Naruto we know is nice and compassionate. Not like this one who seems to get off killing people. Chad said. I have to agree with Chad. I may never talked with the Naruto-san we know, but he seems way different from this Naruto. Uryu agreed. Well we better go help Ichigo. Orihime said as she and the others went to do just that. Los Noches forgot the spelling. Man that took longer than I expected. Naruto muttered as he, Toshiro and the girls walked through the halls of Aizen's castle, which is now Naruto's. He glanced at Toshiro as the white-haired boy nodded and held Unohana and Matsumoto by their hands. The three broke into ice particles, shocking Mikoto and Kushina who sensed chakra from the technique. What's the next step Naruto-kun? Tia asked. We round up the weaklings. And send them off to recruit new hollows. I plan on create my own army. Naruto said. Which weaklings Naruto-kun? Nella asked. The Espada from 21 and up. Starting with Espada 20 and lower we are gonna redo the strength system. Aizen was too lenient with that as he gave that mantis freak Narita number 5. Hell even that cat Grimjo was stronger than him. Naruto said as he entered the throne room and sat in his seat. Naruto closed his eyes while resting his chin in his palm. What rank will we have Naruto-kun? Nella asked. Naruto opened his eyes. You two will not have a rank. He said shocking them. What? But Naruto KOON look of surprise with sadness, Tia asked. Calm down Tia-chan. You two will not have a rank because you will be a part of my new strength system that Unohana-hime, Rangi-hime and Sachi are a part of. The Maelstroms. Naruto said getting confused looks from all of them. We will discuss this later. I want you two to go round up the other high-ranking Espada and bring them to the meeting room. After I will have a meeting with all Espada. Dismissed. Naruto ordered. Nell and Tia nodded kissing his cheek and left. Now for you guys. Naruto said looking at the girls in front of him. To start off I am very happy that you all decided to join me for my goal. I care not if you want to fight for the army or stay by my side. But let's get one thing straight. Naruto said as he turned serious. I treat all of my girls equally. There is none who gets more than the other. Fights would start among you all and I don't want that. What I want is for all of you to be great friends, sisters to be exact. And yes that means you too Tae-chan. Naruto said as Taiyuya huffed with a pout. Naru-kun, what if we want to fight for you? Kushina asked. Then I will have to test your strength and start your training. And now that I have this Haigaku, I'll make mines even stronger by feeding it this puny thing of a barrier breaker. Mines was strong enough to give my son physical energy, but not enough to do something like a Kage Bushin. Said Naruto as he pocketed it back into his right pocket. It seems that boy, Ichigo Kurosaki is part wizard due to Urahara. Anko-chan and Tae-chan along with Yu-chan are closer to wizards as well due to the curse mark Urachi-chan put on Yabu. I'm not having any of that shit happen. Not after the last time Yu-chan got his first test of power. Ugh. Naruto said with a shiver. Will that change anything? Anko asked. No. It just makes it easier for you to turn and have your mind in check since you have been dealing with dark powers for a while now. Naruto said. What does this mean for our Zanpakuto, Naruto-kun? Soifin asked. Nothing. All it means is that you will have more power. Most rankers have their Zanpakuto in Shikai form. Just like me. But you can choose whether or not if you want that. But I'm still working out some details right now Naruto answered. This is great. So when do we start? Anko asked. After the meeting. First I want you all to get settled in and meet the rest of the family. Naruto said. Family? What do you mean? Mikoto asked. Naruto sheepishly smiled. Well you see over the years I've been dead Ikinda Naruto-kun. A whole series of voices called as the door burst open to show at least 20 women rushing towards him. The other girls looked in shock and jumped out of the way as the giant horde of girls hugged and yanked on Naruto. Naruto did his signature hand sign and jumped while saying, blood clone jutsu. Naruto said. As the same amount of girls of Naruto's appeared and no one knew which was the real one, but it didn't matter as each girl hugged their own clone. The real Naruto however was standing on the air while making out with a black-haired goddess. The woman pulled away with a grin and drew circles in his shirt. You took too long Naru-kun. The woman pouted. I'm sorry Kuro-chan. Naruto smiled softly. The woman had long black hair that was braided into a ponytail while having a long bang that covered her left eye. From looking at her right you could see she had pupilless red eyes. She had tan skin that was a shade lighter than Yaruchi's. Her fangs jutted from her upper lip like Naruto and had nice supple lips. She really did have the body of a goddess as she had curves in all the right places. She wore the same outfit like Tia, but hers had a high collar like Naruto's and was zipped down a bit showing her cleavage. The woman had a flat but muscled stomach with long legs that seemed to run for days, but she was only at least 2 inches shorter than Naruto. She had at least a DD cup that were being squeezed against her tight jacket. Tied around her waist was a black sash and tucked within and by her side was her Zanpakuto. This woman was Naruto's first wife and mate, Kurohime Shinju Uzumaki. Naruto and Kurohime floated down and sat down in the throne. Well, Kurohime sat in Naruto's lap making all the other girls pout but hung on to their clone. Naruto, what are these girls? Kushina asked. Well, before they came in bursting in, what I was gonna say is over the years while I have been a hollow, before and after I joined Aizen, I explored the human world or worlds to be honest. Past and future. Thanks to Kurohime I could do this. But only once a year, of course I'll spare you the details for later. Naruto paused. Anyway, over those years I have ran into dozens of girls. These are said girls. To some of these girls I am known as their Ashikabi, their destined one. Others their master and some very emo-like ones, their god. These girls here are my fiancées. But Naruto snapped, and by his side were 3 other girls. These are my wives. Kurohime-chan, Nel-chan, Tia-chan, Retsu-chan and Rengi-chan are one of them. These 3 are Karen-chan, Tamari-chan and Konan-chan. I have many other more like Annie-chan, Misaka-chan, Miya-chan, Kazuhana-chan, Yuzume-chan, Akitsu-chan, Saraz-chan. Naruto said, with the names going, one getting huge mouth gaps from the people he brought with him, trying to count all the names, but failed to miserably. These girls wore the same outfit as Nell, but were different. Karen wore hakama pants instead, Tamari wore tight shorts, and Konan's had no sleeves. Karen's and Konan's shirts were tied against their skin showing off their chests and nipples that were clearly visible. While Tamari's cuffs were baggy almost like a kimono's. Then Naruto gestured to the other girls he mentioned as their outfits either ranged from Nell's or to Konan's. Some even had hakama pants while having a shirt like Konan's, with some others having skirts going from long to extremely short. Girls these are, well, I don't know what to call them, actually. They're not really my mates yet, and the only girlfriend is Mei, and that's barely. Future wives. Mikoto said. Naruto asked. Your future wives. Well, I at least to be one. Mikoto smiled. Well, yeah, what Miko-chan said. Girls, this is, Mei Terumi, Mikoto Uchiha, Tayuyu, one of the girls screamed. Tayuyu looked to see her cousin Karen. Karen? She asked. Oh, Naruto-kun. I'm so happy and thankful that you brought my cousin with. Karen said as she hugged Naruto. Said teen was just waving his hands comically. Karen, you're smothering him again. A girl with chin-length black hair said with a monotone of sorts, wearing black scarf around her neck. Oh, sorry Naru-kun. Karen grinned sheepishly, letting him go. It's okay, Karen-chan. Anyway, Kushina Uzumaki, Momo Hinamori, Anko Mitarashi and Soifun. Naruto introduced. Okay girls, these are my fiancés. You have already heard the names, but believe when I say the list goes from the north to the south pole of the earth, Naruto said, taking a deep breath but grinning in the process. Naruto-kun, the others are present. Tia said, entering the room. Naruto nodded and stood. Konan, Tamari, Kurohime, you 4 are with me in this meeting. Mila. Naruto called. Yes Naruto-kun. She asked right after Naruto responded. I want you 2 to find rooms for them. The rest of you keep an eye on the espadas. If any of them try to get out of hand, warn them about me, and if they still continue, kill them. Make an example if you want. I want to kill the unloyal and keep the loyal ones. Now that Aizen is dead, things are gonna change around here. Karen. Naruto called. Yes Naruto-kun? She asked. I want you to have its power be fed to the Ion no Hejoku of mines. Use it on Toshiro again to see if he can try and make a perfect Kage Bushin. Understood? Naruto asked. Yes, Naruto-kun. Karen nodded. Good. Dismissed. Naruto ordered as he walked out the room with his group and Tia in tow. Have any acted out? Naruto asked. It seems Grimjo is getting irritated. Tia said. HN. Expected from the king. Naruto muttered as they entered the meeting room. It was like any other conference room except there was a long and wide table. Nell was standing at the head of the table where Aizen sat. The other rankers were surprised to see Naruto sit in that very same seat. What is going on? Why are you sitting in Aizen's seat? Grimjo demanded. Calm down, little cat. I'm about to tell you the very reason why I'm sitting here. And you can't get your answers if you're dead, can you? Naruto asked. The man growled before sitting down. Now this is the most urgent news. As you all know, Aizen went to the Soul Society to find the Hejoku. Well, he found it. And now I have it. Why do I have it? Because he's dead. I killed him. Naruto said, making all eyes wide, even the girls who haven't heard the news. What is the reason you killed Aizen-sama, Naruto? Ulquiorra asked. Ah yes. Good question, Ulquiorra-san. Aizen broke his part of the deal. You have all heard rumors about Narita being killed. Naruto said. All nodded. Naruto glared while holding his hands interlaced and over his mouth. I killed him. The reason I joined Aizen in the first place was so I wouldn't be bored. My lifestyle can't just live on sex alone, so I decided to see what was happening around the area, since rumors were spreading around the time about something new happening. When I arrived, Tia and Nell were with me along with Kurohime, Konan and the others. Aizen let them join, but I was still skeptical, wanting to know what the big deal was. When Aizen gave Nell her test against Narita for her number, she beat him. Badly. Naruto paused. Ever since before his death, Narita held resentment towards females who were stronger than him. Mostly Nell. I told Aizen I would join him if he gave me something to do. And he kept Narita on a leash and made sure he didn't go overboard against my women and children. This deal was broken. Naruto said, glaring harder. But Aizen was away and I was busy. Naruto hesitated as Kurohime blushed lightly. Narita and two of his punks killed Nell's Frachian, then Narita tried killing her. He nearly did if it wasn't for Tia telling me. So I killed Narita. Then I had my spy in Soul Society open a garganta a little away from Aizen and observed his movements. After I had enough waiting I made my move. Naruto said. Tia and Nell accompanied me as my son and two wives, Ristu and Ranjiku followed behind, killing Kaname Tosen and Jinichimaru, Aizen's two lapdogs. I killed Aizen myself. Naruto said. Nell was silent as she knew Naruto needed to say this. She didn't mind at all. She would do anything for her love. And he would do anything for her. Making her love him more. Everyone was shocked at Naruto's statement. So part of the reason I called this meeting was to see where your loyalties lie. If you're against me, then I will kill you immediately without batting an eye. If you're with me I will tell you my new plan. But you may not like it. Naruto said. Even if I don't like you, what are you offering me? Grimmjow asked. Naruto glanced at him. Power. I can only give you some. The rest is up to you. Naruto said. I'm guessing Harable and Nelliel have already heard this plan. Ulquiorra guessed. Not really. They have only heard a piece. And it was just a name. Naruto said. Where are your loyalties? Stark asked Nell and Tia. Our loyalties never were with Aizen. We joined him because Naruto-sama suggested it. Our loyalties are and always will lie with Naruto-sama. Tia said with Nell nodding in agreement. I see. Well I really don't care. Reason being is your son Toshiro saved Lillinet from being killed by Neutra this one time and I'm actually cool with you, Naruto Stark shrugged. The others nodded while Grimmjow was hesitant. Good. Now let's begin the next step of my plan. Naruto looked at all the rancor with a calculative look while he was thinking. Okay, let's see. The list of Aransar that need to be killed are Yami, Baragan, Sailaporo and Aroniero. Grimmjow looks like he'll bail, so I might as well let him go, since he really isn't that much of a threat. But I'll keep an eye on him. Hey. Are you gonna tell us this plan of yours or what, Naruto? Said Yami. Calm down my fellow Aransar. I was just thinking about something, but I'm done now. Anyways, the plan goes as follows. I have looked through Aizen's plans on defeating the Gate 13, and to be honest, it was just shit. The reason is that his force, which is the Espada, was based on the same thing Gate 13 were based on, which is quantity. But as we speak, that old fool who now runs the decisions of Soul Society is planning on killing most of us to decrease the number of rancor there will be at the war. So to tackle this issue, I have come up with a better plan in mind. Which is quality as in strength, said Naruto. All the rancor at the table nodded, but Grimmjow didn't do anything as he kept listening. By strength, I mean giving you all something that no rancor can achieve since the first hollow herself, said Naruto. Nilil asked, and what may that be, Naruto-sama? Naruto smirked as he replied, a level beyond a rancor. All the rancor, especially Baragan, looked at Naruto as if he was out of his mind at the mentioning of being something even more superior than in a rancor, as there was nothing else in the ranks higher than that in Hukomondo. Sailaporo eye widened as he looked at the table and clenched his hands into fists. Naruto sees this and raises an eyebrow. Did he know it can't be? That idiotic fool of a hollow wouldn't have told him about the serum, would he know? Even at his death, he will remain as stubborn as a rancor skin, was what Sailaporo thought. He calmed down and put on his trademark smile and looked at Naruto. Oh really, Naruto? A level beyond a rancor. HN. You are out of your, as you would put it, pie-eating funking mind chuckles. You must have had your head shoved into Aizen's ass before you killed him, Naruto. There is no such thing as a being who can surpass an rancor unless you somehow happen to be the first hollow herself, who is by the way dead, said Sailaporo. Tia glared at him for insulting her, Naruto-sama, and was about to send Ito over to him, but stopped when Naruto glanced at her with a look that says don't, which caused the dark-skinned shark hollow to sit back in her seat. Naruto looked back at Sailaporo with a devilish smirk on his face and said well. This is funny, coming from a person who quite believes he has achieved what I'm talking about, huh? The pink-haired man eye widened but then glared daggers into Naruto's eyes. I don't know what you're talking about, Naruto said Sailaporo. Naruto relaxed into his chair and folded his arms as he kept his smirk on. Tell me, Pinky-chan. What do you think Noitra would say to me before he died? Let me answer that for you. He would say you're lucky I haven't taken that serum Sailaporo made. It would have given me the ability to become something beyond a funking rancor. I would be stronger than that lazy-ass Stark and that old goat Baragan combined. And he kept boasting and boasting about it until I cut that annoying mantis's head off. Sailaporo looked at Naruto with wide eyes again, as everyone looked at him with murderous eyes. Baragan stood up from his chair and shouted, you. I always wondered how you became an Espada. You're weaker than nearly everyone here. Grimjo looked Baragan and said, you think I wasn't also guessing? I heard rumors of this faggot doing something about him conspiring on killing Aizen and taking his Zanpakuto. This bastard has a lot of stuff under the rug we don't know about. Sailaporo slowly stood and quickly raised his right open hand to Naruto with a red ball emitting from it. Sir. Before Sailaporo could finish, Kurohime took out her Zanpakuto from its sheath and pointed it to the ceiling and said Kawawatashi Onaku. Jigoku Sama Crimea River. Lady Hell. Invisible vectors came from the back of Kurohime and sped to Sailaporo. Spat. The invisible vectors tore his head, arms and left leg off from his body and held them in the air. Everyone except Naruto, Tia, Kurohime and Nell looked at the scene with shocked expressions. Naruto looked at Kurohime and said, really Kuro-chan? You know that small little Zero can't do a thing to me. And did you have to go that far? The body parts of Sailaporo dropped down along with his body. Kurohime held the Zanpakuto to her side and pouted. But Naruto-kun, you never let me kill anything anymore. And besides, he was really getting on my nerves, said Kurohime as she playfully stumped the ground. Naruto's sweat dropped at the childish antics of Kurohime but put back on his smirk as he looked back at the Arankers. Forgive my wife. She has a tendency of being very overprotective of me, even though she knows I can handle myself. Now, as I was saying before Pinky-chan interfered, I have found a way to reach the level beyond a rancor, and it took me many years to accomplish this goal. You see, the idea of a being having that much power occurred to me long before when Barachan was at his prime, so to speak. This caused Baragan to eye twitch at the nickname Naruto called him, but calmed himself down nonetheless. Naruto stopped speaking when Karen walked into the room holding something in her left hand. She walked over to Naruto and gave him something as she whispered into his ear, it is by far more invincible than before, Naruto-sama. Hitsugaya-kun now has a hole in the center of his chest and he is unconscious from being its first test subject at being given physical energy, stabilizing his chakra and giving him even more bigger reserves that are currently Kage level. He is now a full Dio's Roto will be translated later. Naruto whispered back, and what other abilities does he have, Karen-chan? She answered before he lost consciousness and taken away by Lilinet-chan to his room. I checked his affinities and saw he has water and wind chakra along with his Ryatsu nearly breaking out of the seal, but I managed to seal some off it back. The rest he will have to learn on controlling it, with chakra control exercises being the most important of them all. I have been in contact with his Zapakuto and he told me he didn't lose anything, but he gained even more strength and both his Shikai and Bankai are stronger than before because of getting involved in the ascension of Hitsugaya-kun. Naruto eye widened as he slightly opened his mouth. He then smirks as he thought this is gonna be funkin' great. Unlike before, it ran out of energy when I used it on Retsu-chan and Rangi-chan and gave Sachi half the physical energy required to have chakra. He was a wizard before, but now he is what I wanted him to be without going through the process Retsu-chan went through, plus his Zanpakuto is still with him brilliant. Naruto nodded to Karen and she left the room. Naruto puts the object he was given by Karen on the table, revealing a large black orb, the size of a blackberry with a crimson flame burning brightly from inside of it. Naruto stood up and said, this, my fellow rancor, is the jewel that will turn you into something way beyond your wildest dreams, which is a Dios Roto, a Spanish word for broken god. You see, a Dios Roto is level that is not only achieved by hollows, but also Shinigami as well, with some other complications involved, but funk those details. The reason for that is because it was set in stone by the first hollow herself that she fought a Shinigami that had power that rivaled her own and also commanded a small golden brick in hand. I believe that our progenitor fought the Soul King, but that's not what I'm gonna talk about now. Back to the topic, a Dios Roto is a being who overrules both life and death, thus becoming something similar to a god but only broken one because it has stepped through the barriers of life and death. My fellow rancor Kukikuku. Imagine a being who is capable of doing all the Kido of a Shinigami at its fullest power without having to say the incantation or calling out the Kido. Imagine a being who can be more faster than both Sunito and Flash Step and can be as fast enough to even travel through the gates between whether it may be the world of the living and Hukomondo or Hukomondo and hell under just a mere second, as if they were using something like Sunito or Flash Step. Imagine a being who can create something far more destructive than the first Hollow Zero, which is rumored to have once created a crater that is as humongous as the moon. Imagine a being who can achieve something beyond a ranker's final release state or achieve a level beyond Bankai. Imagine a being who has total control over the energy that can balance all things around them and be able to create anything from nothing. Imagine a being who is more fucking unstoppable than a black hole ripping through the fabric of time and space. I am Gene wahahahaha. The ranker reacted this way. Baragan eye widen and gasp. Grimjo eye widen and drool. Stark eyes turn to white plates and jaw drops. Zamari same as Baragan. Ulquiorra same as Baragan but barely since it's not in his system to look too surprised. Thea smirks under her bone fragments at the thought of being even stronger so she can fight for her Naruto-sama and bear very strong children for him. The latter making her blush of course. Nell same as Tia, but her underwear got wet at the thought of being dominated by her master and god. Yami couldn't take it any longer as he slammed his hands on the table and shouted, "You are insane, Naruto. That power is just dream and would never be a reality, you bastard. Even if it did happen, that person would not be able to even control that kind of power in the first place and would lose their funking minds. Your mother must have dropped on your head, you lunatic. You need to be killed for your own good. You are a monster." Naruto's hair shadowed his eyes, making Kurohime, Tia and Nell back away from Naruto. The three women knew that in order to get this reaction from Naruto, you had to do the following things. 1. Tell him he's insane about something. 2. Tell him the one word he was forced to grow up with, which was something like monster. And lastly, insult his mother. And unfortunately for Yami, he did all three of those things. He raises his head, showing his ocean blue eyes have now changed to blood red with a large black tomo for a pupil, with the surla now being a honey black pattern. He unleashes his Reiatsu on Yami only, making the ranker freeze completely and shocked at the loss of breath as all his body temperature decreased faster than angering a pregnant woman on her period. Yami's eyes began to slowly bulge out of their socket with blood trying to escape from the sides as he looked into Naruto's eyes. Naruto slowly smirks again and says with a dark voice, don't underestimate the jabroni beating Naruto Uzumaki and say bad shit about his mom. Detebyo. Naruto Flash steps behind the paralyzed Yami, grabs him by his shoulder and thrusts his right hand into his chest and took out his heart, making the larger ranker cough out blood. He squeezed the organ and it burst as Yami's head slammed onto the table. Naruto Flash stepped back to his seat and pocketed the black orb. His expression changed into a serious one as he looked at the ranker. Listen and listen well. I'm not kind and forgiving like Aizen was. So you better watch how you speak to me or I promise you won't be able to think because you won't have a head by then. Am I clear? Grimjo, Ulquiorra, Zamari, Baragan, Aronirio and Stark nodded, but Tia and Nell replied in the same time, "Hi, Naruto-sama." Naruto's expression changed back to calm and relaxed on as he relaxed into the chair. The Maelstroms will be a group of 10 Dios Roto that will go by a similar ranking system, only this one isn't going to be about power. It will be about birth, exactly like the ranking system of a ranker. The system will go from 0 to 9 and it will not be changed as the members will remain the same," said Naruto. "Permission to speak, Naruto?" Stark asked. Naruto nodded and Stark said, "Will the Dios Roto have any fration of their own?" Naruto rubbed his chin for a moment as he looked at Mela Ranker then said no. "There will not be any fration or henchmen, mainly because right now, one of my wives are eliminating a ranker that aspire from the number 20 and upwards." Baragan quickly stood up from his chair and flew to Naruto. He grabbed Naruto by the collar of his cloths and smashed his back to the wall, creating spiderweb cracks, but he became even more pissed off at the blank face of Naruto, showing no fear at his extremely high Reiatsu that he focus on Naruto. Kurohime, Tia and Nell were about to assault the fallen king of Hukomondo, but stopped their movements when motioned with the index finger of his left hand no. "How dare you do that without my authority in the matter? Those were my subordinates. If I wanted them dead, I would have done it myself. You have no right to do as you please with what belongs to me, Naruto. You're out of your league with your demanding insanity," said Baragan. Before Baragan could even react, Naruto Flash stepped out of Baragan's hands and appeared behind him, grabbing Baragan's shoulder with his left hand and had his sword in his right hand, pointing it to the center of Baragan's spinal cord. Naruto's Zanpakuto came forward and the tip touched Baragan's back. Naruto whispered, "Item no K's, winds of pain." Splat. The flesh at the front of Baragan along with all his organs exploded onto the white wall, exposing his skeleton and killing him instantly. Naruto lets go of the body of the deceased ranker fallen king and it falls down on its own. Naruto puts the sword back into the sheath that was held by his sash at his right side and turns around to find all the male ranker shell-shocked and looking at him. Naruto looks back at them with a bored look and says, "What? I didn't want a man like him who would plan on getting back his throne the minute my back was turned." The male ranker got out their shock stupor and put back on the stoic looks they had. Naruto got back to his seat and continued. "As I was saying, 10 Dio's Roto will be far more enough to take down 13 captain-level Shinigami, let alone there will be vice-captain-level Shinigami. But for 10 individuals to have a fration will not be necessary. Most of you will go through the ascension while the others will sadly not." Ulquiorra slightly raised his left hand and got permission to speak from Naruto, who nodded once, and Ulquiorra nodded back, then said, "That is understandable. I do ask of who will be a part of the maelstroms, since there are only 8 of us left, Naruto-sama." Naruto looked at Kurohime and winked at her as she smirked. Naruto looked back at Ulquiorra and said, 8. You must be mistaken. There are only 6 us left, no. Before Zamari could move, his upper limbs were ripped off along with his upper body, with blood gushing out like waterfalls at his sides, and the bottom of his detached upper body, as he screams and howls in pain. He was then held into the air choking and coughing out blood, as if something was holding him by his neck, and his lower body was also held in the air upside down, as wounds began to open as if something was stabbing it continuously, giving the same result of gushing blood. 6 holes appeared on his upper body, as if something just shot through him fast, and his liver, kidneys, stomach, intestines and heart were grabbed out of his body. Zamari turned his head to Naruto and said quietly, "WWHY?" before his limbless and his separated body dropped to the floor with a sickening thud. If a person was to look at Zamari's corpse, they would say he fraud and lost to a hillbilly badly, and if you know the movie Wrong Turn, then that is what Zamari was for Tinctus cannibals. Naruto Flash stepped back to his seat, then winked at Tia as she nodded. He then looked at the Aranker who had a glass tube for a face and said, "Any last words, Uroniero?" The Aranker growled and said as he turned his head, "Your reign as king will end someday, Naruto. You and your army will be defeated one way or the other. Aizen-sama will." Glass break. Tia got annoyed at hearing the weirdo talk and punched the glass that had blood and held the 2 heads. She quickly grabbed one head and disintegrated in a very small zero, and the other one died at a loss of breath while cursing Naruto out before it died. Now THEN smirks, the list will go as follows counting down from 10 to 0, with the additional numbers being 11 and 12. Number 12 and number 11 are vacant at the moment. Number 10 is Gara no Sabaku. Number 9 is Momo Hinamori. Number 8 is Soifun. Number 7 is Nilil Too Oldishwink Uzumaki. Number 6 is Tia Harable Uzumaki. Number 5 is Kashina Uzumaki. Number 4 is Sena Unohana Uzumaki. Number 3 is Toshiro Hitsugaya Matsumoto Uzumaki. Number 2 is Ranjiku Matsumoto Uzumaki. Number 1 is Retsu Unohana Uzumaki. And number 0 is me, of course. Now then, gentlemen. I am going to give you each 3 choices you can solely choose from. The first choice, that if you don't want to be a part of anything that I'm doing or you simply want nothing to do with this plan, you are free to go, as long as you don't harm anything of mine's, period. Oh, and by the way, Grimjo, your Fration, along with Tia-chan's is still alive, so if my offer isn't satisfying, you might take whatever that belongs to you and go. The second choice is that you don't go through the Dio's ratification and remain in Las Noches, or let's put this way. You can live here and remain out of my plans. The last and third option is that you go through the Dio's ratification, stay here and live under my command. If you take the last option, I will give you freedom to roam the world of the living and soul society, as long as you don't do specific things. I will not allow you to have servants, but you are free to go out there and make some friends if you want. And, you may go out there and get yourselves mates if you want, as long as they're not mines. Grimjo glances at the table, then back at Naruto with stoic look and stands up from his seat. "I don't want to be a part of this band you're starting, Naruto. Besides, I have enough power to blow this place into smithereens. I don't need any more power. So I'll stay out of your way, as long as they stay the funk away from mine," said Grimjo as he walked out of the room. Everyone looked at the blue-haired Aranker with wide eyes, as if he said that Orochimaru likes women a lot. It was known that Grimjo is one of the most power-hungry Aranker ever to be known. So for him to turn down power that would make him a god was just impossible to believe. Naruto got out of his stupor and looked at Stark. Stark looked back with a blank look and said, "As I said before, I'm cool with you, Naruto. But I'm gonna go for the second option. All this fighting and Dios, whatever you call it, just isn't made out for me." Naruto nodded and then looked at Ulquiorra. The pale Aranker gave his trademark look at Naruto and said, "I shall take the third option you present to me, Naruto-sama. I believe walking this endless plane is rather pointless, and I only want a purpose. So your option presents a purpose that I shall grasp." Ulquiorra stood up from his seat and then took a bow as he said, "I shall serve you with the strength I have, Naruto-sama." But I do not wish to take the power you offer me, as I have my own that can rival that of a Dio's Roto, if not completely. Looked at both men and nodded once before saying very well. We have about a year from now before we make our first assault on Soul Society. Until that time, you are free to do as you wish, my dear brethren. Until then, keep it locked and enjoy yourself. Naruto stood up from his seat and walked out of the room with Tia, Nell and Kurohim following. Stark looked at Ulquiorra and said, why would you want to serve under Naruto? He killed the man who made you who you are today, didn't he? Ulquiorra looked back with a blank face and replied, there are things you don't and won't find yourself understanding, Stark-san. I served Aizen Sama in return for giving me this incredible power, and yes. I swore to serve under him and do as he commands me to do. But when a leader dies, and an even stronger leader takes leadership, you shift your duties as to serve and be of command to that new leader, without any questions asked. That is something I have now come to live by, Stark-san. Stark looked at the green-eyed Aranker with raised eyebrow and said, oh really now? Well then, Cypher. Can I ask what would you have done if you were right there where Naruto was about kill Aizen? Ulquiorra remained silent then cracked a smile, shocking Stark to a point you killed see comical lightning passing through him. I knew Naruto back when I was a Jillian, feeding on hollows. And he told me that once I am reached to the form of an Aranker, I should look beyond my limitations as a hollow and do what I have always done in my life, time which is being unique in my very own way and look at things from a logical point of view, said Ulquiorra as he stood up and walked out of the room and back to his palace. Leaving a still shocked Stark muttering Hesmileti needs some sleep before he stood up walked back to his homier, rather his bed. Naruto-kun, when will you begin the process of Dio's rotification? I'm only asking so I may be prepared on that day, asked Tia. Naruto replied with a smirk, I'm short of 2 members for this group. One is in Soul Society, the other one will be in the world of the living, Karakura town to be exact. Until then, my beautiful queen of the ocean, you may train with Nell-chan until the process commences. Tia blushed at the comment and was glad that no one could see it, or else she would end up on Ranjiku's list of people to tease all day long. As Naruto and his women were walking down the hallways, they stopped when Konan appeared in front of them via her paper shunshin, kneeling down on one knee and one hand, bowing her head down in submission to Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes, and how many times have I told you not to do that, Konan-chan? I'm not that kind of god. Please, just rise. Konan rose and said my apologies, Naruto-kun. Eren-san is now working on that project you have requested for her to work on many years ago. She requested the Ion no Hejoku and was asking that when she wakes up from the operation, what are your orders to her? Naruto takes the black orb out his pocket and gives it to Konan. I'm more afraid that Kisuke will do more experiments on her soul and find out what else has been hidden in there and I don't want that to be in the wrong hands. Also Karen-chan should tell her that I will be with her as soon as I'm done with what I will be doing right now and that I missed her, said Naruto as he frowned, but quickly smiled again. Konan nodded and left through the same why she arrived. Naruto looked at his wives and said you girls go share my room for the night. I need to go see someone tonight and I'm not coming back to my room. All 3 women pouted and gave Naruto the puppy dog eyes while faking their crying. Nell got closer to Naruto and put his right arm between her large breasts and said in girlish tone, but Naruto-kun, you promised us you were going to try a foursome when we came back from Soul Society. And me and Tia-chan have been so anxious to carry your children ever since we got these buadis. Can we at least come with you to whoever you're going to? Naruto laughed and replied I'm sorry my Himes, but she is a virgin and I want to make it very special for her, just as much as I want to make it special for the both of you individually and together. Now then, I gotta go and tell my daughter, Sena-chan to stop using the shower in my room because I can sense that she is there. If she doesn't comply, tell her that will destroy all of the precious makeup she has and decrease her weekly allowance of both money and me, said Naruto, leaving in puff of smoke, making the 3 women say in unison Aiya when a certain teenage-looking Dio's Roto in Naruto's shower screamed damn you, to-sama. In a comical fashion. But Soifin. Here we find the former captain of Gate 13 Second Squad, dressed in a loose black nightdress, standing over her bed with her toes curling from the sensational feeling of the warm mat under her small feet. Since she got to her room and was alone, the thoughts of what happened today wouldn't stop occurring to her, in her mind like a song that just wouldn't go away, no matter how long and hard you try to ignore it. Soifin, what are you doing? Yoruichi demanded. Soifin pulled away and grabbed Naruto's hand while facing them. I'm going with Naruto-kun. I want to help him achieve his goal. Soifin said. The look of betrayal on Yoruichi's face still made her heart crack a little, wondering if she could ever explain herself to her teacher if she ever got the chance. She tensed when she felt a pair of hands on her shoulders but relaxed when she sensed who was behind her. She closed her eyes and released a blissful moan as she was massaged and said oh. Moan, why are you in my row room? Moan Naruto-kun. Naruto didn't waste any time and started kissing her on her neck and licking her earlobe, earning slightly loud moans, making the neighbors get out of bed and put their ears to the wall, wanting to hear more of the action that was taking place in Soifin's room. Naruto stopped and turned Soifin around and looked at her, as those gray eyes shined with the light bouncing off of them, giving her an appearance that some would say, revealing a far more feminine and cute set to her normal stoic and always serious facade. He kissed her on the forehead, making the petite woman hold Naruto close and hide her blushing face into his chest. Naruto looked down to her and said, "You can't stop thinking about your former teacher and what you told her before we left, can you, Soi-chan?" Soifin replied in tone that further betrayed the mask she used to put on when she became a captain for the 2nd Squad of the Gate 13 and became the commander-in-chief of the ONMITSUKIDO Executive Militia. Naruto smiled as he thought, if only I came for her when I came to Soul Society back then, she wouldn't have become the person she was when she became a part of Soul Society. Can't help but feel responsible for the cold person she became. And Yuruchi's defection only made her forget about who she is, but she's here now, and by the look of things, I've already fixed that. Soi-chan, you care about Yuruchi. I know you do. That's why I have decided to torture her for you. I don't like seeing you confused and sad, Soi-chan. What you hold precious is just as precious to me as it is to you. Soifin froze for a few seconds, but she began to shake as she could no longer hold herself and release all the emotion she had kept locked up inside since Naruto left her. The surla of her eyes turned red, the blush started to take over her cheeks, teardrops began to escape her eyelids, and her breath began to choke up. She couldn't contain it and cried in Naruto's arms. Naruto's smile didn't go away as he brushed her hair and kept saying apologies to the petite woman. Why didn't you come for me? I would have left with you if you would just given me the chance to decide. Loud sobs. I'm sorry, Soi-chan. I thought you had forgotten about me when I left you and Hisana-chan. I only wish that when you and I would meet again, you would remember Mezui-chan. Soifin slowly raised her head and looked at Naruto with puffy red eyes. She sniffed as the tears ran down like a storm moving in a slow speed pace, as if the clouds were having a sugar crash. She placed her hands on Naruto's cheeks and pulled him into kiss, which Naruto dominated her in, earning more blissful moans as their tongues continued to wrestle for dominance, with Soifin losing, although she gave up when their lips met. The two fell on the bed and stopped to catch their breaths. Soifin's eyes never changed and the tears never stopped flowing down her cheeks, but her sobbing has stopped completely as her breathing was hearable to Naruto. They stopped to look at each other for only just a few seconds. Then Soifin pulled Naruto's face and the two began to kiss again as they stripped one another of their clothes. 3.5 hours later. Then, sorry guys, but when I do my first lemon, I want it to be real special. Soifin's room was now a mess as clothes, shoes and other appliances were everywhere, and the walls had massive cracks, with the floor having some liquid that some would say is two different substances mixed together, while other were separate. The only thing that remained intact was the bed along with its pillows and blankets, and the door, which showed just how crazy the last couple of hours must have been for the two in Soifin's room. The neighbors couldn't hold themselves and began to get under their underwear to relieve their sexual urges of busting down the wall and joining in the time Naruto and Soifin shared together, whilst the other neighbors that were 2 doors down from Soifin's room couldn't sleep and couldn't get rid of their frustrating eyebrow twitches. Or the urge to pull Soifin away from Naruto and discipline her about being a proper lady while wearing a Hanya mask of some sort. Lying in the blankets of the bed was a naked Naruto and an equally naked and exhausted Soifin, with her breathing being quite hearable. Soifin just couldn't stop looking into those deep blue ocean eyes of Naruto and getting lost into them, as if she was slowly descending down in a drowning ocean that was clearer than the deep blue sky of the world of the living. Naruto's smile came back and he pulled Soifin in for another kiss as she gave into Naruto's embrace willingly and submitted into the kiss as he dominated her. Soifin pulled out of the kiss, earning a playful grunt from Naruto and jigging in response. The giggling sounded very sweet and warm to Naruto's ears, as he could say her giggling is as sweet as the honey the best bees can produce and reserve carefully. She stopped her giggling and whispered into Naruto's ear. I feel so untouched that I want you so much and that I just can't resist you. It's not enough to describe how much I miss you. I love you so much that I can barely hold myself when I am alone. How can I hate you when it was you who showed me how to feel and how to love someone and know how it feels to have a precious person and cherish them with all that you have. I never forgot about you even when I was with Yuruchi-sama. She was always jealous about someone else other than herself always being in my mind. What I'm trying to say is that it's so hard to hate you when I'm so crazy about you. Naruto-kun can, will, and always love you no matter what you put me through. Naruto-kun. Naruto sighed nothing for just a brief moment but smiled again and whispered in her ear. Soi-chan, you sometimes say things that catch me by surprise and sometimes even make my heart skip a bit, but that's what makes me love you even more than I ever had before. Soi-chan, I love you. The two kissed one last time, and Soifin said, when you decide to retrieve Uruchi-sam, I want you to send me there. I need to punish her for looking at you in a way I didn't come to be pleased with. Tuckles, slow your roll, Soi-chan. Your boldness might get you hurt someday, and I won't be there protect you, said Naruto. Soifin playfully glared at Naruto and replied, I'm a captain-level Shinigami, and I will be even stronger than that in a couple of months with some training, and with the help of that orb of yours. I'm quite sure I will be able to bring down Uruchi-sama along with her using Shunko. So don't underestimate the jabroni beaten, pie eaten, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, fast in a fight, quick on a word. Naruto covered her mouth as he playfully glared back and said, don't ever Naruto means ever say his catchphrases, make your own. Naruto removes his hands from Soifin's mouth and Soifin giggles, then laughs, as Naruto joins her laughing at the silly moment they had. The laughing died down, and the two allowed sleep to take over, as Soifin rested on top of Naruto with her head on his chest. Here we find two men standing on a balcony of a luxurious palace next to one another looking at the moon with complete and still silence. The one man who had black hair wearing white robes and a pair of tree-made sandals turned and looked at the man standing beside him with a scowl that showed utter hatred that was lower than anything ever to be dug in the ground, no matter what it may be. The second man with white hair wearing gold and red robes with a circle full of rings within it also turned to look at the black-haired man with a stoic expression, angering the black-haired man even more than before. Growls, you idiot. What did you say, Ashura? I said growl, you idiot. Do not speak to me in such disrespectful manner. You are disgracing my teachings when you raise your voice to your superiors. Speak properly or I will smite you where you stand, young one. Shook his head and glares at him. I told you to kill him when he first entered Soul Society. Through that Senkaman, but you were too much of an imbecile to listen to a warning when it is said directly to you. It's no wonder why that grandmother of a beep. Slap. The black-haired man touched the cheek where he was slapped and glared at the silver-haired man with Ryatsu in his stare, but immediately fell on one knee when the white-haired man dropped his massive and superior Ryatsu on the black-haired man who had a little trouble breathing. If I ever hear you speak of her in any form or way again, you will never have that pencil of a disgusting little beep licked or touched ever again. Insect spits in his face. I let that boy live because he didn't pose as a threat to Soul Society at first, but that demon whore of a So fell for him and helped him to become an even more bigger threat to all of us with the help of my mother. More than the Hollow, Quincy and Wandenreich have ever been. He won't be that much of a threat as long as I stand. When the war commences, I will confront him and try to give him a satisfying deal worth of control over Soul Society, so he may do as he pleases with the place under my command still. But if that cannot help, Heidi will put his jabroni beating on. Now I'm speaking in the same tone as him. Get me the royal cloth and holy water now. He glares on last time before he stood up and walked away. He removes the spit from his face and says to himself, your so-called plan will only enrage him when he finds out. He is more set on destroying that precious creation, as you so rightful say it, and stop you from feeding that damn piece of trash that you made from my brother's Ryukyu and life force. And for the sake of that bitchin' grandmother of Minesi, hope he kills Yaotu-san. He walks into a shadow as the light dies down. 11 months later. In Karakura town, just in one of the hotels that could be located in the business side of town. Walking up the stairs is a tall pale-skinned man dressed in white sandals with red socks at his feet, a pair of blue jeans, a white shirt with a red swirl on it, and on top of all the clothing is a black cloak with a red cloud pattern on it, and he has a pair of black shades hiding his eyes from view. The man's face is normally heart-shaped without any mass on his cheeks, and he appears to have neck-length red hair with the edges cut short and a flock of hair covering his hidden right eye. The red-haired man, carrying some groceries of his own, took the stairs up to the last floor of the hotel, then reached his destination as he walked up to the door and knocked on it 3 times. You may enter, was the response he got from a feminine voice inside the suite. He entered the suite while closing the door behind him and placed the groceries at the kitchen and walked into the living room to find one gorgeous-looking woman sitting on a single-person white couch, reading a scroll with a parrot on her right shoulder and white bunny on her lap as a small table could be seen in front of the beautiful-looking woman, having a green tea-filled teapot and 2 small drinking cups used for drinking green tea. The woman is 5'4" feet in possession of very delicate facial features as she has extremely long, sweeping white hair that touches the ground, and the most noticeable thing about her appearance were the 2 horn-like protrusions which stuck out from her head. She possesses eyes that were similar if not exactly the pale Byakugan eyes and a third eye on the center of her forehead with its eyelids parting vertically, but the eyelids were closed, shielding the eye from view. Her eyebrows were cut very short and she wore a dark shade of lipstick on her lips and a dark shade of nail polish on her long fingernails. For clothing, the woman has no shoes on, showing her clean feet with regular black tights on her lower body, with her upper body not covered at all, but she has a long elegant red rose pattern and white kimono on top held by a red sash, adored with all sorts of strange symbols on it, as the kimono is slightly left open at her chest, giving her D-cup breasts good cleavage as the nipples of the said breasts could be seen through the kimono silk fabric. The red-haired man sat down on a white single-person chair opposite to the woman before him, as he said to the woman, "Good morning, Kagaya-sam. I have bought us groceries for the week with the money I made from my occupation as an officer of the law, and I was able to get you more of the rare carrot cake you crave so much." "Thank you, Nagato-kun. My deepest apologies for putting you through all that trouble, but Japan isn't exactly good on pastries, and the only place I know that is renowned chefs for my kind of taste is America. But all things aside, how has the new occupation been? I take it as learning experience for you," the lady identified as Kagaya said. Clears throat. "For the long and short of it, it seems this society has decided to try and balance the good and bad in this world. As long as crime exists, this gives a general purpose to justice. Corruption in the system is highly inevitable, but this corruption also keeps the minds of all those wondering and ignorant citizens of what's going at ease per se. Peace is found somewhere in all of this by the normal naked eye, but in my eyes, it all seems to be one gigantic blur," Nagato answered as he sat down permanently on the opposite couch to Kagaya's and poured some green tea into an empty teacup and drank. Kagaya looked down to the white rabbit and brushed the top of its head as she said, "I see. Well, humanity hasn't always been perfect, Nagato-kun, and as you can see, they have learnt that real power is control, and for this control to kept in place, they have to use it wisely while trying to put the people's mind at ease that such power isn't being abused in any way or the said power being in the wrong hands. There might be bigots who do get caught red-handed or found out, and some other citizens have grown a bogus third eye of some sort, showing them what goes on behind the curtain as they make conspiracy theories based on aliens, demons and angels, along with other fantasy folk giggles, but I am to blame for most of their silly theories after all." Nagato kept silent for a moment, then replied, "In most ways yes, but on a personal note, I think we need to face reality as it is, Kagaya-sama. Ever since I had met you right after Kurohim's return from my cousin Naruto Uzumaki, there has always been a number of questions in my mind that I had not asked you this entire time being with you here in Karakura town. If you are going to ask me who is the father of my two sons, then forget it. Glares. I was an empty-headed individual back then, and I was desperate to have children of my own." "That wasn't the question, Kagaya-sama," Nagato said. "The question is, did you separate yourself from the holy tree after getting sealed into the moon, and what happened to the rest of your clansmen?" Kagaya froze for a brief 3 seconds, then looked down to her feet with a heavy sigh as she looked back up to Nagato and replied, "Well, if you must know, the answer to the first question starts like this: I have no clue as to how the afterlife itself was formed and who created all those dimensions. My son Hagoromo discovered Soul Society before his death, as I have discovered Yukomondo. In this order of answers, I have always known Kurohim since my first arrival to this planet, and in a way, I was like a mother to her as she was like a daughter to me, and she still is, as I have always protected her from the greedy humans that have tried to take advantage of her importance in the world and all the fruit she has grown over the past 5,000 years of her existence in our world at that time. You already know the story of me being corrupted by my hunger for power and protecting my nursery from my two sons, who, in my own words, stole what was rightfully mine, being chakra of course, and history depicts that Kurohim was the being that influenced my state of mind to go upside down. The truth of the matter is that Kurohim did everything she can to tell me my sons meant no harm to the universe when they had gained chakra at birth. Well, not until Hagoromo's silly idea of peace and giving humans chakra through NINSHUI rolls with a snort. Anyways, once I merged with her against her own will, sadly enough, we became a beast with no heart or soul, with the objective being to kill, destroy and erase everything from existence. Luckily, we were stopped by my two sons Hagoromo and Himura. And after being sealed into the moon, our fusion finally was stopped with me and Kurohim separating. She was still fine, mind you. She got herself a human form of sorts from being with me, but my physical form was no more, and I became a soul with one Luong chain attached to my chest. The peace kept on depleting every year as I watched Black Zetsu work to bring me back into the world, and my sorrow, regret and pain was like no other, growing stronger and stronger every year. Kurohim once again tried to rescue me from the emotional and possible psychological pain I felt, but nothing had seemed to work again. So after 500 years, the chain was almost gone, but I pulled out of me before I start to feel very hollow inside, with Kurohim being able to finally talk me out of just sitting there wallowing in self-pity and regret awful all the bad things I have done to this world after eating the fruit Kurohim offered me as a sign of trust and love. My transformation was anything short of amazing, with Kurohim witnessing it firsthand, but right before it was complete, I appeared in Hukomondo. Narrows eyes, not even a minute later, I meet my son Hagoromo, who tries to obliterate me for just existing in the afterlife he claims is his domain and kingdom. So that's how the fight between the first Hollow and Soul King happened. Who was the winner between you two, Kagaya-sama? Nagato asked. Kagaya smiled as she replied, I ran away before he could use his last resort on me, as the fight was getting extremely good, but I did manage to steal his seal, or rather the first king's seal. Which allowed me to recreate my old body to absolute perfection and cloaking it carefully, so he couldn't find me no matter the technique or technology used, just in case he found out I am alive and well living amongst humans. He believes he won the fight, of course, while losing his first weapon in the process. The rest you already know, since I opened a Garganta in the Elemental Nations, looked into its past and future with Kurohime begging me to have Naruto live in Soul Society for a short while, then strike a deal with her about Naruto gaining my hollow power and eating the last of her fruit when he died fighting the mindless beast form of ours on his own for 1 straight hour. For your second question, Naruto killed them all along with destroying all the other holy trees on the other planets, then finding all the other Otsutsuki out there that were hiding in other worlds that are parallel to this one or this entire galaxy, of course. There was Toneri, who surrendered to Naruto knowing he was no match for him and asked that he only helps him in taking away chakra from the people of the Elemental Nations, then having young Hinata to himself since he apparently had a thing for her, or maybe he didn't. My clansmen aren't as emotionally equipped as humans are, so I doubt he really did love and only saw for her beauty and bodily pleasures. Naruto accepted the assistance, but later killed him while sending Hinata away to one of his own personal dimensions so that she would never be disturbed by anyone ever again, since he doubted he really did wipe out the Otsutsuki clan, and I believe he had his other reasons for gifting young Hinata with immortality while he imprisoned her in that place. It is hard to understand that young man SOMETIMES forms a thinking pose looking into the right corner of the room. Nagato remained silent for a moment with his eyelids closing, then opening them as he said, I see. Thank you for answering my questions, Kagaya-sama. Think nothing of it, Nagato-kun. Being a powerless and helpless human has gave me the opportunity to live the life I have always dreamed of having, and now I am at a far better place than I was before. My son Hagoromo along with all his other henchmen are the only problem now, but they aren't my problem to handle, as that is for Naruto to deal with on his own time. The poor boy has a lot on his plate, but he always seems to have an appetite for such dishes. Smiles warmly. Smirks, are you in any way attracted to him? Kagaya-sama? Nagato asked. Kagaya widened and gasped, but quickly narrowed her eyes. She folded her arms underneath her bust and countered Nagato's question. You have caught me numerous times touching myself, and for your own information I masturbate for other reasons, Nagato-kun. I may find his silly antics fun to watch, and he is incredibly handsome, mind you, I think he is far too gifted. INWELL blushes, you understand where I'm going with this, but he has far too many women to please, and my time to love another has long passed, since I have wasted my virginity away. Why don't you have a companion of your own? Nagato Koon raises eyebrow. I was never a person for those sorts of things. And Naruto is what they call a cheek magnet, so any chance of a beautiful woman being available has already going up in flames. Tuckles, it's only a matter of time before he meets you for a second time under the same circumstances from before. Kagaya-sama, I hope you are prepared for his jabroni beaten, pie-eaten, trailblazing, eyebrow-raising ways, cause it seemed to me that you didn't quite feel what his women feel up until you were in his presence. Smirks. Las noches. Ai at you. In Naruto's master bedroom, here we find the blonde god dressed in his usual attire, which is a high-collared jacket with black trips, as the jacket is zipped down a bit showing his fishnet shirt underneath, and the sleeves were rolled up to his elbows. A white Sashinuki hakama that were gathered at the ankles giving them a ballooning effect, and a black sash with extra length. Tucked at his side is a sheathed katana that has a white handle and a two-cross triangle, SHAP the Judaism symbol, for guard, and on his feet, he wore flat-pointed ankle-high boots. On his right ring finger was a silver wedding band with the kanji 6. On his left middle finger was a crimson ring with the kanji 0, and on his left pinky was a black ring with the kanji star in crimson. Naruto is currently sitting on the edge of bed that has one blonde Suna Kunoichi, one sake-loving Sakura, and one former female Mizukage naked from head to toe cuddling underneath the covers, giggling endlessly, as it looks like two of them were ambushing one girl's sensitive spots, looking at the four women standing in front of him. The first woman is Soifon, who is dressed in her usual Shinigami Attire without the Haori, with the colors being reversed, and the golden rings that are tied to the two long strands of her hair were replaced with two diamond-encrusted platinum rings, as the one on the right as the Kenji for 8, and the one on the left as the Kenji for Princess of Death, with the middle finger of her right hand having a black ring adored with a crimson jewel. A small hollow hole could be seen in the center of her left shoulder, as the very tips of her short hair now have white highlights, and the pupil of her eyes have small gold rings inside. The second woman standing next to Soifan is a woman that looks far too identical to one Rukia Kichiki, as this woman is dressed in half-boot white SNEAKERS all-stars with long black socks. A short black skate that does nothing to hide her beautiful long legs and thighs that look absolutely smooth with a black sash holding the skate in place with a long katana sheathed in a blue sheath as the gourd has blue leather with black strings on it and the guard being two lighting symbols crossed in the form of an X. For her upper body she has on a white formal t-shirt that is completely buttoned up to the collar, having a long red tie with a black pullover on top, having a diamond-shaped pattern on it. All in all, the woman appears to have a kinky schoolgirl outfit on with the pinky finger of her left hand having a black wedding band with the Kenji 34, the index finger of her left hand having a blue ring with the Kenji Storm, and the middle finger of her right hand having a blue ring with the Kenji 10. Her body is more or less similar to Rukia Kichiki's, with the differences being her buttocks being a little more bigger and firm, her breasts being mini cups, and the hollow hole on the wrist of her right hand. Her eyes are the same color as Rukia's, but the sclera of her left eye being all blood. This woman is Hisana Uzumaki. Next to Hisana is Ranjiku Matsumoto, still dressed in the same attire from before with a silver necklace being around her neck, the index finger of her right hand having a black wedding band with the Kenji 10, the index finger of left hand having a gold ring with the Kenji 2, and her thumb having a yellow band with the Kenji ashes. The final woman standing besides Ranjiku is Kushina Uzumaki, dressed in normal flat shoes with thick white tight pants stopping at her ankles. A long-sleeve red tight shirt with the black Uzumaki symbol on the front and back of it with a white haori on top that has the Kenji for 5 on the part of her right breasts, and on her forehead is a shinobi headband that has a steel plate with the Kenji Fox of Fury engraved on it with a gold ring around it. Naruto-kun, are you okay? You aren't getting a cold from training Sachi-kun, I hope, Ranjiku said worryingly. Naruto chuckled as he said, "Ha. Me. Get a cold. I'm the coldest motherfucker there is out there. How would I get a cold? Besides being given the cold shoulder from Akitsu-chan, of course." Face faults at Naruto's statement. "Ano, Narukoi. You did have one before," Hisana said with Soifan Finishing with her right eyebrow raised in a sarcastic manner. "Took you 4 months to get healed, I might add. You really need to stop training him without the proper protective clothing on, Naruto-sama. Medicine doesn't come cheap anymore. Are you trying to put a price tag on sex, Soi-chan? Cause if you are speaking for all my girls," Naruto said, who stood from where was sitting and walked up slowly to Soifan with a devilish smirkage on his face as his blue eyes gleamed in a mischievous way. Soifan stepped back from Naruto in fear as she became nervous while sheepishly laughing as she said, "No. I was just saying that it won't be easy for me to go on as long as the others, Naruto-sama. From what I hear, you could possibly knock me into a coma for months, and you know how much I can't stand comas. I love you, Naruto-sama. Please don't embarrass me like you did to Tayuya. I seriously." Bruise easily squeals and closes eyes. Eye rolls, "Thanks for pointing that out, Soifan-chan," Hisana said sarcastically. Naruto was now close to Soifan and picked her up with his hands, grabbing her, but making the former captain of the 2nd Protection Squad squeal and said to her, "Next time you might wanna THINK kiss his left side of neck before USPAK kiss his right side of neck, Soi-chan. I'm still your master and I can have you any time of the day, right?" Moans loudly, "Yes. Yes." Naruto Sama wraps arms around Naruto's neck. "I'm sorry for letting my tongue slip out like that. I belong to you and only you, Naruto-sama. Do with me as you see fit, take anywhere in any way that satisfies you, and punish me to your heart's content." Soifan moaned as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's necks, but was dropped back to her feet to stand, making her inwardly moan sadly at her forever loving master and husband not take right then and there. The rest be damned. Kushina cleared her throat to stop the other women in the room from glaring jealously at Soifan and said, Sachi-kun. What is the mission you have for all of us?" "Alright," Naruto said as he sat back down on the edge of the bed crossing his legs and continued, "As you all know, there are 13 spots in the maelstroms and there are 2 which are currently empty as we speak. The plans I have derived can't start until the entire squad, so to speak, is filled up, so I will be giving you 4 separate retrieval missions. Ah-chan, Ranjiku-chan, your mission has an added task, which is to kill some idiots that need it to gone. Namely Irachi team, Yu-chan, Irobaka Sakura-chan, and lastly is Sasuke's dad and the Yondaime Hokage. If what I'm guessing is correct, you don't want them Toba Thorn on your side later in the future?" Kushina asked as she didn't even react to hearing she was assigned with the task of murdering her own husband and the father of her son Naruto. Naruto grinned as he responded, "Yep. I have an idea that Orochimaru is seriously up to no good from what Momo-chan tells me about him. Put aside that Kabuto is still alive and under that genjutsu Itachi placed him under, I already get strong shivers from knowing he is the 3rd seat officer of Kuritsuchi's squad. Yeah, I just got another shiver anyways. I am entrusting you, Ka-chan, to hit all of them silently, but you can eliminate in a way you see is necessary, as long as you don't make noise about us just yet. Matsumoto-chan, I'm assigning you to talk to Tsu-chan and retrieve her for me also silently. Sachi tells me you two are pretty tight, so I'm sure she'll listen to you if she still has doubts about me in some way. If there is anyone who wants to come along, you can bring them with, but be cautious. Hi, Naruto-kun. And I can tell some thoughts are stimulating your mind right now about me, and One-chan raises eyebrows playfully while playing with breasts. Ranjiku grinned as she gave a salute with her large breasts jiggling in her step, but Hisana sighed tiredly as she murmured boob jobs. More boob jobs for Naruto-kun's manhood. How can this get any more perverted? By wearing white ropes as underwear, that's how. Naruto-kun likes all sorts of crazy things. You should know by now, Hisana Soifin said with Hisana blushing. Yeah. I didn't know he liked using my feet that way up until yesterday and his tongue is suo. Naruto then turned his attention to Soifin and Hisana, who immediately stopped sighing together blissfully with blushes planted on their faces, then said, for you two, your mission works into two ways. Hisana-chan will be leaving with Ulquiorra on the day I finally decide to let the Gate 13 know about me still being around. All you need to do, Hisana-chan, is make a nautical entry with Ulquiorra, and I'm dead sure that Kid Ichigo along with his friends will pitch up to see the commotion. As that is happening, Soi-chan will knock Kisuke down a few pecks and talk to Yori-chan so she can impersonates Darth Vader, come to the dark side and be a Sith warrior. Sai, have you been watching Star Wars again, Narukoi? You do know you're too old for that kind of stuff, right? Hisana said. Naruto sweat dropped at her comment but quickly contoured with a grin, says the girl who is over 100 years old wearing a school uniform. The Uobuer and Matsumoto whispered in Hisana's ear with the said woman blushing as she said, it's a fashion statement. And besides, it makes me stand out of the crowd of women you have, all of them look the same as if they were your slaves. Narrows eyes dangerously, don't let Miya-san hear you say that, Soifin said with Hisana freezing at her statement as the memory of a Hanyu mask appeared before her eyes, then tried to get it out of her mind as she shook her head furiously. I'll let you know when you can go on the mission, Soi-chan, Hisa-chan. As for you, Ka-chan, Rangi-chan. I need you to both take it now since it's nighttime and make sure nobody spots you and don't set any high alarms off. Both of my hackers have worked hard to get our energy signatures of the radar, but there's no telling if that old man has beefed up the security by now. After the whole Bounto episode, they just survived thanks to Kurosaki Ichigo and his friends. Hi, Narukoi Sachi-kun. Sirite. With Kushina. Standing at the top of one of the roofs under the Natum Tsuchikage's camouflage jutsu is Kushina, who is watching a certain smut author getting his thing sucked off by a not so nice looking hooker outside a club at the 11th Squad barracks. And this is the man who was once said to be a great sage who taught Minato everything he knows today. Why does Sachi-kun consider him a threat at all? His Riryoku is depressingly low, with his Riatsu being that of a civilian soul, and he doesn't have his Zanpakuto at all, with his weapon being a simple katana given to the not so useful Shinigami who managed to get employed into the Gate 13. He got this position through Minato and Kakashi, putting in a good word with the previous captain of the 11th Squad. And Kenpachi no doubt doesn't care about him as long as he stays out of his way and away from that surrogate daughter of his. Kushina shook her head as she continued, even if I still think I'm wasting my time getting rid of him, Sachi-kun ordered me to end him, and I will do anything for my Sachi Koon Sai. Life has turned out to be wonderful since I decided to be with him and stay here. I just hope Tsunade agrees to join my Sachi-kun in his quest. Having this annoying weakness of a Dio's Roto, which is a slow healing factor, will definitely hold us back, and Sachi-kun needs her more than ever, and the history she has with him back when she was starting her duties as Hokage are anything short to not think OFF giggles. Sachi-kun was one hell of a man when it came to older women, and Tsunade-chan is a prime example of that. Oopsie. I'm getting off track here. I gotta stay focused. Kushina hopped down the roof with her feet not making much of noise as to not alert the old perv of her presence, but narrowed her eyes at the spectacle before her, which was Jiraiya grabbing the back of the hooker's head, trying to push her down and trying to reach for her breasts, only for the said hooker to bite off his BEP, then spit it out and say, I said no funking touching me, you damn pervert. Geez. This wasn't even worth the $300. Jiraiya's voice became high-pitched as he screamed at being castrated so harshly and tried to grab the girl by her hand forcefully, only for his arm to be cut right off his shoulder by some invisible blade. Aya. Jiraiya screamed in pain, with the hooker being too shocked at first, then screaming in fear as she ran off from whoever or whatever was maiming the infamous Icha author. Who is there? Show yourself, Jiraiya shouted. He blinked his eyes once and widened them at the sight of Kushina looking down at him with her hair waving around in the form of 9 tails. Just as he was about to scream out for help and alert anyone around the area, Kushina kicked him hard at his crotch repeatedly as she said. Kick. This is for peeping on me when I was 16. Kick. This is for peeping again on me when I slept with that prized student of yours. Kick. This is for deciding to neglect my son when you clearly promised that you would take care of him and tell Tsunade about him. Instead you decided to take a piss on that promise and focus on that crappy smut and funk whores all day every day. Kick stumps head hard. And that is for all the bad things you have done to me when I was a child and my Sachikuni know everything, you perverted bastard. Slice. Kushina, in a fitting rage, sliced off Uriah's head right of his shoulders, then sighed blissfully to herself as she said, I've waited for 30 years to do that. I hope all the women out there can rest easy now knowing someone won't be perverting around HERE sweatdrop. I take that back. Matsu-chan has just became the pervert queen because of this meh. I'd choose her peeking on me getting screwed by Sachi-kun any day over this lowly piece of filth. Kushina hopped away again and flew into the sky as she was looking for her next target to kill. She flew down to the roof of a mansion and reactivated her camouflage jutsu to cloak her entire form as soon as she landed. The roof actually has a sunroof, so Kushina quickly took a peek to see one Sasuke Uchiha now dressed in regular Shinigami clothing with his father Fugaku dressed in a suit and tie. Just when Kushina was planning on getting in and taking the two accursed Uchiha out, another presence makes itself known in the room. Damn it. Maiko-chan's son Itachi is here. I'll just have to wait until he leaves, I hope, Kushina said as she listened in on the conversation happening amongst the three Uchiha. How did it go, Tusan? Sasuke said. Not well, son. This has been the 10th time I have tried to get our clan registered in this wretched place. But with Central 46 gone, all of Seoul Society's council occupations and decisions and go to the Satacho Genrisai Yamamatand, that blabbering old fool won't agree, no matter how much I tell him about our clan's history, treasures and great value. Fugaku said. Itachi with a look of indifference, looked at his father and said, that's where you are going wrong. What? Fugaku said. You have seemed to forget that Seoul Society has recorded all the history of the elemental nations. From the clan wars to the formation of all the hidden villages and the shinobi wars along with who started them, who ended them, and lastly, who were the ones that caused the most damage in terms of killing lives bad or innocent. Committing unforgivable crimes and all the above going into the individuals that come from the families and clans that have done the above. The Taudo over there is the main reason why the clan won't be registered. Sasuke widened in surprise at what Itachi said, but he stepped over to him furiously, grabbed him by the collar of his shirt, and pushed him to the wall as he said, you know nothing about what I have done. All of this wouldn't have happened if you didn't. Sasuke. Fugaku yelled. Leave Itachi out of this clan's massacre was not his fault, but my grave mistake of believing the only way I could become Hokage was planning a coup against the Sandaime your mother, warned Mebid. I didn't listen over the fact that she was taking care of that insolent son of Minato's, Fugaku said. Sasuke stood silent for a moment and let go of Itachi, who fixed his collar while saying to Fugaku, and look where she is now. She is with the man she has always dreamed of being with, put aside the fact she first cared for Naruto when he was still 5 years old. Again, Taudo is to blame for Kasen's current predicament. Don't you dare say I'm the reason she ran off with the dope. Sasuke glared. Itachi didn't even flinch at Sasuke's glare and calmly walked to the door and opened it, only to see one Sakura Haruno dressed in the pink battle kimono she wore when she was alive with some pink heels with a smile on her face that quickly turned into a frown when seeing Itachi. The former Konoha missing nin walked out the house not even greeting Sakura. Sakura quickly let herself as she said, hey Sasuke-kun. I was wondering if you're free tonight because the nice restaurant down at the back with Kushina, she sighed while saying to herself, so much for the saying a dead Uchiha is a good Uchiha. These idiots are still as power hungry as they are when they are alive, if not worse. Maybe Maiko-chan isn't a full breed Uchiha, but from what I hear, Madara had a sister just like her once, but maybe shakes head. Getting off track again. Okay, let's see who we have. Harris's K, Fugaku and Sakura are all in one place. According to Sachi-kun, Sasuke was one of the greatest problems the elemental nations have ever come to face, and by his words. Yu-chan is the true definition of a bratty child who always gets what he wants no matter what you do to stop him. You take away his eyes, and he gains far more powerful eyes and power. You take away his memory of using Kakabaka's Chidori or seal away his chakra, and he learns all the techniques of the Sharingan and gains Itachi team's curse mark. That homo needs to be taken out before he learns about the King's Seal, or a possible fact that there could be another Hejoku out there. There's no telling how much drool he'll produce from hearing about it, since I'm dead sure that Shunsui guy has dug about some research about it and told that old man who in turn educated the rest of the Gate 13 about it. Aizen actually considered on recruiting him because of his history being alive, but I made sure that thought never crossed his mind. I'm 100% bought on those reasons although I don't see the reason why Sakura-sen should be killed. Sure, she is massive fangirl of Maiko-chan's mistake of a son, but she really doesn't produce much of a threat for Sephioltz. She used hit on him all the time, rejected him all the time, sent him to his death fighting Sasuke countless of times. And used him for her own selfish gain, and never appreciating anything he has done for her, on pretending to be friends with him for her own crazy fangirlish reasons, and she never thanked Sachi-kun for saving her life more than 4 times and saving the world by getting rid of her stupid crush, which she kept on believing was under the influence of either Orochimaru, Madara or someone else she could find to blame. Long story short, she's Sasuke's contingency plan if anything bad is to happen to him. It's a good thing Maiko-chan made her have an abortion. Alright then. Kushina created a kunai with 10 explosion seals tagged to it via yin release, then she hopped up into the air making a hole in the roof and threw the kunai into the house through the sunroof. Sasuke perked up when he saw the tiles of the roof fall into the house, then heard something stab the floor. He quickly walked over it, only for his eyes to narrow, then eye widen as he said. "This can't happening Aga." Boom. The entire house went up red and blue flames. Kushina looked back to see many of the officers of the 9th Division trying to take out the fire, with others using Tentakura to call for assistance while searching for any survivors of the fire, only for 3 skeletons to turn up after the fire was put out. Landing down to one of the apartments of Squad 12, Kushina closed her eyes and tried to sense just where exactly is Orochimaru. She opened eyes after 2 seconds, then preformed a sealess hinge, changing her look to a small tan-skinned naked boy with short black hair and blue eyes. I know this is too much giggles, but I have to see if this can actually work. A certain former Sannin and now 3rd Seed officer of Squad 12 was taking a quiet stroll through the streets of the 12th Squad barracks, and his thoughts were on an argument he had with his captain Mayuri Kuritsuchi. Well, it wasn't much of argument, as Orochimaru said let's do this, with Mayuri saying you can kiss my ass in a figurative way. The idea that Orochimaru suggested is that they try and make some sort of secret communication with Naruto Uzumaki, tell him to come with someone to a specific location with that someone being the former captain of the 10th Squad. Then try and kidnap Toshiro so that they could do some experiments on the said son of Naruto in the hopes of finding out how Naruto has made it possible for a Shinigami to become a type of a rancor hollow that can use chakra. Mayuri's response was Orochimaru, if someone else came up with that idea, I would have sit down and think to myself what are the many steps that I could take to see this plan through, while looking at how many contingency plans I have to construct because of Naruto being the so-called unpredictable being he is now and how strong he could be based on what he displayed before, but since it's you who came up with this idea saying we should specifically capture young Toshiro instead of trying my luck with Unohana-san, you can take that idea and accomplish it on your own. I do not work with your kind, no, get out of my office before I have you reported for what Nemu caught you doing in the North Rukan district. Orochimaru frowned at his captain and walked the office, not before giving a glare to Nemu, who only gave him a blank expression in return. TSK. Leave it up to him to pass a good chance taking down Naruto where it hurts the most, since I know he values family, and look at me by my unproven crimes as a shinobi, Orochimaru said. Hearing footsteps at a nearby alleyway, Orochimaru turns to see a young boy looking to be the ages of 6 to 9, naked as can be, looking very fresh in the eyes of Orochimaru with tanned skin, short black hair and blue eyes. Hey mister, are you Orochimaru-sama? Yes, his IAM mouth begins to twist into a grin. The little boy smiled brightly as he continued, my older brother Kabuto told me all about you, and he says you know how to take care of a little boy like me. My tummy has been aching so badly since I died and arrived here in this weird place, and this other little boy said I should come to you, since you helped him with his tummy problems. Will you help me, Orochimaru-sama? I promise I won't tell anyone what you will do to me. Kukuki I can, little boy. The little boy gestured Orochimaru to follow him into the alleyway, and without a second thought in mind, Orochimaru followed the boy into the alley with a grin, threatening to rip his face apart. Once Orochimaru was in the middle of the dark alley, he blinked in confusion as he tried to look for the little boy. Thinking it was just his imagination, Orochimaru turned to leave only to slice. Splat. Have his body split into 2 with his internal organs and blood making a mess all over the floor. Kushina laughed out loudly as she couldn't contain the laughter of knowing her prank on the said Pedo-sannin would work, but quickly contained herself with her laughter dying down and saying ooh wipes away tears, I can't believe he fell for that. Phew. Anyways, I need to Time seemed to have slowed down around Kushina, then everything came to a complete stop. For a minute she looked confused, then sighed the minute she heard Kushi-chan. The mother of Naruto turned to see Momo Hinamori dressed in the same flat shoes as her own and the standard Shinigami uniform, with the colors being REVERSED hers and Pakuto, tucked in the same position it normally is, with her hair still being tied into a single bun, But the only changes is the tattoo kanji for fairy godmother being in the center of her forehead. The second middle finger of her left hand having a black wedding band with the kanji 5 and the pinky finger of her right hand having a gold ring with green gems encrusted all around with the kanji 9. Momo was standing in the air but hopped down to Kushina and gave a warm big hug to her while saying I missed you so much, Kushi-chan. Not to mention that you weren't there this morning to see me cook the best fried rice chicken ever. Pouts, did you even eat my food when you came back? Naruto-sama says you smelled it and you did a face like this, makes it cringes. Kushina eye widened with a gasp while replying I did no such thing. I did eat your delicious food and I even had seconds. You can ask Musubi-chan since she was the one serving the food to me. Sachi-kun was lying to you, Momo-chan, and when we get home, I'm gonna find some way to prank him for hurting your poor feelings. Databane grins mischievously. Okay. But please don't prank Naruto-sama too hard, Kushi-chan. Whenever someone does something horrible to him, we all have to suffer a bad punishment. Pouts, and I hate it when Naruto-sama doesn't want to have sex with me. Stumps. Foot in the ground, Momo said while folding her arms and glaring playfully down to the ground, not even acknowledging that she has stepped on some blood and kidney belonging to a now dead Orochimaru. Kushina grinned at Momo while asking her Momo-chan what did me, Saraz, and Mia-chan tell you? Eye widens, then looks away from Kushina with a blush. Not to talk about doing naughty stuff with Naruto-sama out in the open, Momo said. Exactly. And what did you do? Kushina asked. I said me and Naruto-sama are playing house in public. Kushina slowly caressed Momo's cheek soothingly while pushing strands of hair behind her ears and spoke, I'll discuss your punishment with Mia and Saraz later. What are you doing here, my little fairy? Momo's expression changed again to happiness as she replied to Kushina Naruto-sama sent me to tell you not to kill Minato Baka. He said he has other plans for him and he wants you to come back to stop the fight Annie-chan and Mikasa Wani-chan are having over who gets to clean Naruto-sama's bathroom and drink the white stuff that comes out of Naruto-sama's blush as well. He doesn't want Minato dead. What is my crazy Sachi-kun thinking now? I mean Minato isn't that much of a problem, given he might get desperate and do something stupid to get Sachi-kun's attention and try to take me back. Or maybe even talk to Kisuke about holification. Granted that lazy idiot still has another Hejoku stashed somewhere like Sachi-kun believes sweat drops, he came to a realization that having no enemies means he won't be fighting anyone for a while. Sigh. My son can be a lot of things and a born fighter is at the top of the list, with Ning born to making sweet love being number two. Blushes and sighs heavily was what Kushina thought. Kushina smiled again as she looked back to Momo and said okay then, we can go back home. And when did you learn to stop time for this long? After the Dio's ratification, me and Shiro-chan trained together. He was learning a lot of ice manipulation from Akitsuka-chan and he needed my help by being able to slow down time for more than 3 months inside Naruto-sama's training dimension or stopping time completely for a much longer time. Every time I did it, the time span got longer and longer. I can slow down and stop time for a whole year now. Momo smiled with a grin. Kushina giggled at Momo's expression of happiness, then held her close as she said to her. I'm proud of you, Momo-chan, and I'm sure Sachi-kun and Retsu-chan are proud as well. Now how about we go home so we can celebrate your success and help me prank Sachi-kun. Hi, Kushi-chan smiles and holds Kushina tight as they leave Soul Society in a swirling fire shunshin. In the 10th Squad barracks, mainly the captain's office, here we find one Tsunade Senju dressed in the formal Shinigami uniform with a captain's Haori on top, sitting on a lounging couch with a table in front of her having 2 saucers and 1 bottle of sake half drank. Tsunade sat up to pour the sake into one of the saucers, then relaxed again as she thought to herself. Back to square one, Tsunade. Working hours and hours and hours, signing papers all day, giving out orders to stubborn perverted men that can't look straight up to face, and getting no reward worthy of my hard work that pleases me. To top it all off, the one person you care about it is out there having the time of his life. And you should have left with him when you had the chance. Kami, I would do anything for Naruto to come back for me. I never liked this place since I got here. It feels like I'm at a boarding school being the always strict and take no shit teacher and the student at the same time. It somehow reminds of those times still being a Kunoichi under Sarutobi sensei during the 3rd Warnobe. I take that back. This place is much worse. And I don't want to get into the details of how messed up the whole setup is here. How can person call this place heaven when crime, corruption and poverty still exists here? Innocent people are suffering and dying all over the Rukin district, while anyone who is a Shinigami gets to live in paradise, watching those poor people work every day of their afterlives for peanuts that can't even feed the entire families. And when you get tempted to take something for your loved one since you can't afford it, you go to prison for more than 20 damn years. Whose screwed up idea was it to bring prison into heaven? Sigh, some afterlife this is. I'm very sure a lot of people would want to be alive than living here for -+100 years. Mind if I join you, Tsunade? Sun turned to her right to see one Ranjiku Matsumoto sitting next her with her left barefoot underneath the knee of her right leg, and she was also sipping on sake through white saucer just like her. Tsunade remained silent, not even being surprised at Ranjiku's sudden appearance, then turned away as she drank sake from her own saucer and said. When were you planning to tell me Toshiro Taicho was actually my godson's son? It was a surprise I was planning. I'm more shocked over the fact you didn't even see any resemblance between Sachi and Narukoi, Ranjiku replied. The shortness, the spiky hair, the short temper whenever someone calls him short, his addiction to a certain food, and that annoying density his father had before he met Anko and the rest of us back when he was alive. Tsunade said. How's life treating you, Tsunade? Ranjiku asked. Tsunade remained silent for a moment and spoke again as she poured the sake onto the saucer and drank like 10-year-old soy milk. Nobody told me being a captain was far worse than being Hokage. And you wonder why I never wanted to be captain. Ha. Ranjiku laughed. Yeah, well, I promised myself I would never have to sign anything when I died. I didn't see this pathetic lie of sweet paradise turning out to be life all over again. Ranjiku nodded to Tsunade's statement and said, I hear you there, sister. I certainly do. Tell you what. Let's say you ditch the Haori and come with me to your new paradisarial paradise this time. Really? Naruto-kun sent you here to get me? Tsunade asked with her expression changing to surprise with hope in her eyes. Ranjiku nodded in response as she replied, yep. He misses you a lot, Tsunade. In fact, all the women that know you and left with him that day miss you as well. He actually miss you as well, sis. Raises right eyebrow, oh yeah. You really miss me punching you through walls when you and Anko would try to seduce me into some lesbian action. Or when you tried to set up blind dates for me. Or when you always ditched your clothes to walk around commando. Tsunade asked. Laughs heartedly, I sure miss you for all those reasons. Why didn't you come along before when Narukoi gave you the chance? Tsunade sighed as she looked up to the ceiling, then sighed again as she replied, I wasn't thinking straight at the time. There was this one side of me happy to see my strong little maelstrom alive and kicking again, doing what he does best, which is being handsome, strong, always saying his crazy catchphrases and dancing like a Maranthan, being unpredictable. The other part of me was afraid of having losing him again, since after he died, I started thinking to myself that I pushed away another person precious to me all because of that stupid necklace and that dub Hokage dream, along with the fact that I didn't know if Naruto still cared about me the way he did when he was alive, since I wasn't there to stop him from facing the Juubi all on his own. Ranjiku eye rolled at Tsunade's answer, then took the bottle of sake and poured it on Tsunade's head. Tsunade didn't even react to this as she just said, I totally deserve this. Yes you do. You know very well that Narukoi is anything but a man who abandons those precious to him. And the necklace. Come on, sis, Ranjiku glared. He no. After that day, I trashed my house and I cried uncontrollably as the memory of him leaving wouldn't leave me alone. I couldn't believe I doubt him and his feelings for me like that, and you being here is proof that he still loves me more than anyone ever. Hasokay wipe sake off her face, I'm ready to go now. But I think there are some people I know would probably want to come with, Tsunade said. Ranjiku looked at her in question and asked who. The Katetsu sisters, the Shiba clan, Ino and her mother, Shion, and I'm sure Nanao wouldn't mind tagging alone as well. But that girl is a serious stickler for the rules, and Naruto hates rules more than he hates destiny as a whole, Tsunade said. The two busty women, after finishing what was left of their sake, stood up from where they were sitting with Ranjiku, saying, Naruto-sama has left the other pickups to me, so when the time is right, I'll approach the ladies you mention. For now though, he just wants you to be where you belong, which is with the people that care about you. The most grins, and there is this lady I know who kinda wants to see for herself if you really are the biggest sucker when it comes to drinking and gambling. Tsunade was about to ask who Ranjiku was talking about, but decided to find out for herself when she arrived at her next destination. Ranjiku held Tsunade's left hand, and the two busty women left the room in a shunshin that turned them to ash. Walking into the room is one Minato Namikaze carrying a stack of papers while saying, I know you're gonna hate me for this, Tsunade, but that fat idiot of a captain I have needs you to sign to set Tsunade. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.